Chapter 890. Hoo-hoo! The blazing flames were jumping around the vermilion bird cauldron like fairies. They were releasing surging energy, burning the walls of the alchemy room red and distorting the air constantly. Yi Chunfeng wasn't affected by the surging heat waves at all. His hands were constantly forming complicated hand seals, congealing the multiplying life Tao patterns and fusing them into the vermilion bird cauldron. Fusing the life Tao patterns when concocting elixirs was an inheritance technique that Yi Chunfeng grasped when fusing with the God-Eater brain's soul fragment to increase the success rate of concocting elixirs. As the vermilion bird cauldron's temperature increased, more life Tao patterns were fused. 18 Longan-sized elixir embryonic forms appeared in the vermilion bird cauldron. They were emitting faint golden light and emitted a refreshing medicinal fragrance that lingered in the alchemy room for a long time. Huff, the elixirs are finally about to be formed. Seeing the faint golden medicinal fragrance emerging from the vermilion bird cauldron, Yi Chunfeng, who had exhausted a lot of his soul spirit, revealed a faint smile. He pulled himself together and continued to fuse the life Tao patterns into the 18 ultimate Emperor Tao elixirs. His soul spirit controlled the vermilion bird cauldron to refine the elixirs. The closer one was to the end of the concoction, the more difficult it was to refine the elixirs. Just as the 18 ultimate Emperor Tao elixirs were about to be successfully concocted, the 18 ultimate Emperor Tao elixirs suddenly became restless and gave Yi Chunfeng immense pressure. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and completely released his soul spirit power. The God-Eater brain rapidly deduced and quickly congealed the life Tao patterns, forcefully stabilizing the 18 restless ultimate Emperor Tao elixirs. If they couldn't calm down, the restless medicinal effects might cause the elixirs to explode, and all would be for naught. Under Yi Chunfeng's control, large amounts of soul spirit ripples and life Tao patterns were fused into the ultimate Emperor Tao elixirs, forcefully suppressing the restless medicinal effects. But in the end, 3 ultimate Emperor Tao elixirs exploded. There were only 15 ultimate Emperor Tao elixirs left in the vermilion bird cauldron, which greatly reduced the pressure on Yi Chunfeng as he completed the final step of concocting the elixirs. When the last life Tao pattern and soul spirit ripple dissipated, Yi Chunfeng let out a long breath of relief. He abruptly slapped the scalding vermilion bird cauldron, causing 15 dazzling golden ultimate Emperor Tao cores to fly out and be caught by Yi Chunfeng. The pill body is round and glossy, and the surface of the pill body is covered with 108 curved medicinal patterns that are rich in Tao intent. The medicinal fragrance permeates the air and contains powerful medicinal energy. This ultimate Emperor Tao pill should be considered a top-grade Great Tao pill, close to the level of an ancient Tao pill. However, to be able to refine 15 extreme Emperor Tao pills in one go is truly unexpected. Looking at the 15 Longan-sized extreme Emperor Tao pills covered in pill veins, Yi Chunfeng revealed a satisfied look. Yi Chunfeng was able to successfully refine Great Tao pills of such quality in one go not because of his deep attainments in alchemy, but because the Blood Dragon Ginseng and the Yin-Yang Ice Fire Grass were both over 200,000 years old. During the refinement process, he had fused in a large number of life Tao patterns, and with the help of the Black Flame Skyfire and the Vermilion Bird Cauldron, he had finally succeeded. Yi Chunfeng took out 6 ultimate Emperor Tao pills and placed them in a white jade bottle. He placed the remaining 9 ultimate Emperor Tao pills into another white jade bottle and stored them in the universe mirror. After that, he adjusted his breathing and recovered his exhausted soul force and soul spirit. Then, he left the alchemy room that was so hot that it could melt a peerless king. As soon as Yi Chunfeng walked out of the alchemy room, Bai Feng, who had been standing guard outside, immediately sensed him. Besides Bai Feng, Kong Sungchen and Xing Biue also rushed over and waited for him. "Qing Feng, did you succeed?" Bai Feng asked expectantly. It could be said that Yi Chunfeng's alchemy was related to the changes in the Xingluo continent's situation. It was also related to the survival of their 3 great clans. Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. This junior has successfully refined the ultimate Emperor Dao pills. As Yi Chunfeng spoke, he handed the bottle containing the 6 ultimate Emperor Dao pills to the excited Bai Feng. Such strong medicinal efficacy. The medicinal efficacy of this ultimate Emperor Dao pill has probably surpassed the grade of a great Dao pill. The oldest, Kong Sungchen, took a great Dao pill and carefully appraised it before speaking in shock. This junior is also unable to determine the grade of this ultimate Emperor Dao pill. However, this ultimate Emperor Dao pill's 2 main ingredients, the Blood Dragon Ginseng and the Yin-Yang Ice Fire Grass, are both over 200,000 years old. This greatly increases the chances of it breaking through the bottleneck, Yi Chunfeng explained softly. Qingfeng, we really don't know how to repay your kindness, Xingbue said gratefully as she held the heavy ultimate Emperor Dao pill in her hand. Senior Xing is too polite. Xingluo Heaven City and the True Demon Clan are our common enemies. Only by working together can we shatter their schemes. After learning about the True Demon Clan and Xingluo Heaven City's background, Yi Chunfeng wanted to eradicate them. He wanted to destroy the Heaven Clan and the Demon Clan's foundation and rebuild the human race's legacy. Oh right, 3 seniors, this junior might open the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum soon. I wonder if the 3 seniors are interested in entering the Imperial Mausoleum to seek a great opportunity? Yi Chunfeng knew that the situation in the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum was far more complicated than he had imagined. Opening the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum would definitely alarm the True Demon Clan and Xingluo Heaven City's expert. Therefore, he wanted Kong Sungchen's help. Qingfeng, you have a way to open the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum? Kong Sungchen's snow-white eyebrows slightly raised as he asked in surprise. Yes, this junior was fortunate enough to meet the Star Emperor's clone in Xingluo Heaven's 9 jade walls. From him, I obtained the token to enter the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum. Kong Sungchen's trio were trustworthy people. Yi Chunfeng didn't hide anything and frankly said, Qingfeng, you're becoming more and more surprising. I didn't expect you to create another miracle after just arriving at Xingluo Heaven City. You're on par with our Xingluo continent's Star Emperor. Kong Sungchen shook his head and sighed with emotion. Oh right, Qingfeng, what title did you leave behind in Xingluo Heaven's wall? Bai Feng asked curiously. Sword God, Yi Chunfeng said with a faint smile. Sword God Bai Feng, Kong Sungchen, and the others looked at each other and asked in shock. The young man who suppressed us old fellows in Slaughter City and is currently ranked first on the 9 Dragon Jade Wall, the one with the title of Sword God, couldn't possibly be you, right? Seniors, please don't be offended. That person is indeed this junior. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said in a neither arrogant nor humble manner. Amazing, Qingfeng, your talent is really too frightening. I think that, in at most 10 years, you'll be able to grow to a level that we can only look up to. Kong Sungchen's trio felt that they could no longer find the words to describe Yi Chunfeng. His talent had reached a level that they couldn't even imagine. Qingfeng, I will be the matchmaker again. What do you think of Ziqing and Yura? If you're interested in them, I can make the decision and let them marry you as concubines. Bai Feng rubbed his hands and said shamelessly. Junior appreciates senior's kindness, but this junior is wholeheartedly pursuing the supreme Tao. I really don't have any plans to take concubines. Yi Chunfeng tactfully refused, but this junior can take them as sisters. Really? Bai Feng's dejected expression was swept away as he said excitedly. Although Yi Chunfeng's current realm was not as high as theirs, Bai Feng believed that with Yi Chunfeng's talent, he would definitely stand at the peak of Xingluo continent. At that time, even if he passed away, with Yi Chunfeng's help, the Bai clan would be able to stand tall for 10,000 years without falling. Seeing that Bai Feng was using his beauty to get closer to Yi Chunfeng, Kong Sungchen and Xingbue did not show any disdain. They were constantly thinking whether they should use the same method to rope in Yi Chunfeng. At first, Bai Ziqing was still a little reluctant to take Yi Chunfeng as her brother. But after talking with Bai Feng, she calmly accepted. After taking the two girls as his godsisters, Yi Chunfeng gave Bai Ziqing and Bai Yu a lot of treasures that were enough to make combat beast emperors green with envy. After bidding farewell to everyone, he quietly returned to Xingluo Sky City. After Yi Chunfeng left, Kang Sungchen and the other two, as well as Bai Qingtian, Jiang Yixian, and the palace master of Biyu Palace, Tseng Lian, all went into seclusion to use the powerful medicinal effects of the Huangji Dao pill to break through to a higher realm. Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 891. Triple Thunder Territory, White Cloud Shop. Watermark Advertisement Test. Watermark Advertisement Test. Yi Chunfeng spent a lot of effort to sneak into the jittery Xingluo Sky City. He immediately took the risk and entered the Triple Thunder Territory. After changing his appearance several times, he arrived at the White Cloud Shop and found the person in charge of the Bai clan, Elder Bai. Young Master Yi, the clan head has sent me a secret message, asking me to prepare 2 brand new identity tokens for young master. After learning of Yi Chunfeng's arrival, Elder Bai had already prepared 2 brand new identity tokens for him. After receiving the 2 brand new identity tokens, Yi Chunfeng learned about the latest developments in Xingluo Sky City from Elder Bai. After learning of the incident at the ancient ruins, Xia Bingyun ordered a thorough investigation of Xingluo Sky City, eliminating all suspicious people and destroying a branch that the Jiang clan had spent hundreds of years to establish. Besides this news, Yi Chunfeng also learned from Elder Bai that in 3 months, Xingluo Sky City would hold a grand auction at the highest level of the star field. There would be many treasures appearing. After learning about the recent developments in Xingluo Sky City, Yi Chunfeng did not stay in the White Cloud Shop for long. He quickly left and arrived at the center of the Triple Thunder Territory, the most authoritative Xingluo Sky Pavilion. He was prepared to use his points to try and exchange for low-grade heaven crystals. If he could exchange for some low-grade heaven crystals and provide enough energy for the sword puppet, then he could repeat his old trick and cause a ruckus at the upcoming auction in the star field. Young master, may I know what you wish to exchange for? Yi Chunfeng, who'd controlled the illusory Dao insight to change his appearance, wore an azure green robe, and had an extremely ordinary appearance. As soon as he walked into the Starnet Pavilion, a woman with a full figure, light makeup, and an enchanting charm from head to toe greeted him, and she revealed a professional smile as she asked with a pleasant voice, "I wish to use my points to exchange for some low-grade heaven crystals." Yi Chunfeng went straight to the point. My Xingluo Heavenly Pavilion actually has low-grade heaven crystals. However, young master is merely a silver metal star cultivator, so the exchange price is slightly higher. Each low-grade heaven crystal requires 2 million points. The alluring woman softly said, "All right, then I'll exchange for 10 low-grade heaven crystals first." Even though the exchange price for low-grade heaven crystals was ridiculously high, Yi Chunfeng, who had 60 million points, still decided to exchange for 10 low-grade heaven crystals. With these 10 low-grade heaven crystals, the sword puppet would be able to display the strength of a level 6 beast emperor. At that time, even if Sha Tianya and Lian Xing worked together, they would not be able to trap it. "All right, young master, please follow me." The enchanting woman did not expect Yi Chunfeng to be so generous. She could not help but look at him a few more times. Gently swaying her sexy waist, she brought him to the back hall and took out 10 low-grade heaven crystals to complete the transaction with him. "Young master, do you still need to exchange for anything else?" The enchanting woman revealed an enchanting smile and asked softly. I don't have any more points. Wait until I earn some more points, then I'll come here to exchange. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng did not stay for long. He left the Xingluo Heavenly Pavilion and rented a secluded room to rest for the night. Early the next morning, he went to the martial arts arena to fight. He wanted to achieve 100 consecutive victories as soon as possible and become a Diamond Star expert. The martial arts arena was the most lively place in the entire Thunder Field. Intense shouts, roars of the victors, and wails of the losers mixed together, creating a deafening sound. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, Yi Chunfeng deliberately hid his strength. After going through the cumbersome registration process, he started the martial arts arena. Because he was only a silver medal star expert and the strength he displayed was only that of a level 5 reverse beast king, which was not outstanding in the Triple Thunder Field, his opponents at the beginning were not strong. However, no matter if he met an expert or a weakling, Yi Chunfeng did not win with an overwhelming advantage. Instead, he fought for hundreds or even thousands of moves before barely winning. His fighting style didn't attract anyone's attention, but his winning streak had unknowingly accumulated to 39 matches. His points were also gradually increasing. 18 days, 39 consecutive victories. In addition to the 10 consecutive victories that come with a silver medal star cultivator, I am still one match away from achieving 50 consecutive victories and becoming a gold medal star cultivator. However, those upper echelons of the martial arena shouldn't let me become a gold medal star cultivator so easily. The corner of Yi Chunfeng's mouth slightly curled as he silently muttered in his heart. After dawn, Yi Chunfeng took a bath and changed his clothes. He left the room and went to the martial arts arena alone to meet his 40th opponent. "Dear, your opponent is here." Yi Chunfeng had just walked to the dueling ground when two sharp gazes locked onto him. A beautiful woman with a voluptuous figure and long, wavy black hair casually draped over her shoulders and fiery red lips revealed a bloody smile as she spoke softly to the man in blood-red clothes beside her. She was wearing a tight black dress and had a voluptuous figure. He should be hiding his strength. He's an interesting opponent. The man in blood-red clothes coldly glanced at Yi Chunfeng and said without a trace of emotion. After that, his body slightly flashed and drew an afterimage in the air, appearing on the west side of the arena where they had agreed to meet. Half-step Battle Beast Emperor. Looking at the man in blood-red clothes in front of him, Yi Chunfeng's face was expressionless. With his current strength, he could kill this kind of opponent in a second with just a finger. "Kid, your good luck has come to an end since you met me." The man in blood-red clothes coldly looked at Yi Chunfeng with his hands behind his back. His whole body's aura erupted, and a murderous aura filled the sky. Devil Chi. Someone from the True Demon clan. Feeling the devil chi in the man in blood-red clothes, Yi Chunfeng's eyes flashed with a sharp light. Die! The man in blood-red clothes immediately launched an attack at Yi Chunfeng as his strength rose to the maximum. A heavenly blade with tiger patterns engraved on the blade appeared in his hand, and it was a supreme-grade heaven artifact. Numerous Tao patterns intertwined on the blade as he slashed at Yi Chunfeng fiercely. Breaking the Tao with strength. A supreme-grade heaven artifact heavy hammer appeared in Yi Chunfeng's hand as he exploded with a force of 10 million pounds. He relied on his absolute strength to withstand the attack of the man in blood-red clothes. Boom! The two heavy weapons collided and exploded with a shocking force. A force that was beyond the man in blood-red clothes' imagination surged into his arm, causing his arm to feel a little numb. He was surprised. Devil-killing art. Feeling that Yi Chunfeng was far stronger than he had imagined, the man in blood-red clothes no longer held back. He circulated his devil arts at high speed to dispel the numb feeling in his arm. He attacked fiercely with the tiger pattern heavenly blade. Streaks of blood-red blade shadows slashed down fiercely and shrouded Yi Chunfeng. Facing the man in blood-red clothes' fierce attacks, Yi Chunfeng countered with ease. They fought fiercely in the arena, and dense explosions were incessant. When the two of them were exchanging thousands of moves, Yi Chunfeng suddenly increased his strength to nearly 10 million pounds. He broke the blood-red blade shadows that shrouded him with a hammer and smashed it at the man in blood-red clothes, whose face had changed drastically. PFFF. Caught off guard, the man in blood-red clothes was sent flying by Yi Chunfeng's hammer. The heaven artifact armor that he was wearing was completely deformed. A large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth as his body crashed heavily on the ground. You have lost. Yi Chunfeng looked coldly at the heavily injured man in blood-red clothes with a sunken chest and said coldly, Die. The arrogant man in blood-red clothes could not accept the fact that he had lost to Yi Chunfeng. Like an angry lion, he roared and pounced at Yi Chunfeng. When he was 3 meters away from Yi Chunfeng, he spat out 2 poisonous silver needles and shot them at Yi Chunfeng's eyes. This attack was very sudden. Ordinary people would not be able to dodge it. However, Yi Chunfeng reacted even faster. He quickly struck out with his palm. Relying on his palm that was comparable to a low-grade Dao artifact, he blocked the 2 poisonous needles and stabbed them back at the man in blood-red clothes' chest. PFFF. The man in blood-red clothes spat out another mouthful of blood and was sent flying. The 2 poisonous needles had pierced deeply into his body and released a large amount of poison. He knew how terrifying the poison was. He immediately took out an antidote pill to detoxify the poison. However, the moment he took out the antidote pill, Yi Chunfeng suddenly appeared in front of him and snatched the antidote pill away. Quick, give me the antidote pill. Feeling the poison in his body, the man in blood-red clothes panicked and ordered loudly. His whole body was in great pain, as if he was being pricked by needles. However, Yi Chunfeng was unmoved. He directly crushed the antidote pill. Under the man's desperate gaze, he ended his life and completed his 50-win streak. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 892. Rock Pestle. An enchanting woman in a black dress witnessed the hopeless scene of the blood-robed man being poisoned, and her complexion changed. Relying on her formidable strength, she tore apart the forbidance that shrouded the martial stage and appeared on the field. Antidote, give me the antidote. The poison flared up, and the blood-robed man spat out white foam as his entire body twitched. He painfully shouted. However, the antidote had already been destroyed by Yi Chunfeng. The enchanting woman fed the broken pill into the blood-robed man's mouth, but it was unable to save his life. The blood-robed man's poison flared up and died. Under the hateful gaze of the charming woman, Yi Chunfeng left the martial arena. He exchanged for a gold-grade Star Cultivator token from the martial arena's person in charge and returned to the spectator stand, calmly waiting for his second opponent. Yi Chunfeng's second opponent was far inferior to the blood-robed man in strength, but Yi Chunfeng still bitterly fought with him for over 1,000 moves. Relying on his formidable strength, he tore apart his opponent's attack and defeated him, obtaining his 51st consecutive victory. After finishing the day's competition, Yi Chunfeng booked 2 matches for the next day. He left the martial stage that was filled with the thick smell of blood and came to the Triple Thunder Dominion's market square to find treasure. Treasure hunting was something that Yi Chunfeng was rather interested in while he was in the Triple Thunder Dominion. While he was fighting, he didn't miss out on strolling around the city square. He found several good spirit herbs and traded for several dozen array flags that seemed broken and dirty, but were still quite powerful. Walking into the bustling city square, Yi Chunfeng immediately released the soul force in his mind and covered the entire city square, looking for treasures that interested him. Controlling the God-Eater brain to sense for a moment, Yi Chunfeng's eyes brightened as he discovered something that interested him. He immediately walked to the northwest of the market square, and arrived in front of a silver-haired old woman with a face full of wrinkles who deliberately concealed her strength. "How many points are these 3 jade slips for?" Yi Chunfeng looked at the jade items and jade slips placed in front of the silver-haired old woman. He picked up 3 dim jade slips that were engraved with dark lines and softly said, "The first and second jade slips are sold for 100 points, and the third jade slips are sold for 1,000,000 points." The silver-haired old woman who was sitting cross-legged on the ground gently raised her wrinkled eyelids. She glanced at the 3 jade pieces in Yi Chunfeng's hand and slowly said, 1,000,000 points. Yi Chunfeng's goal was precisely this third jade slip. He had picked up 3 jade slips at the same time in order to confuse the silver-haired old woman. However, he did not expect that the silver-haired old woman would know the value of these jade slips. This caused his plan to fail. "Senior, why are you selling this jade piece at such a high price? Could it be that it is engraved with the marks of the great Tao? Or are they engraved with profound Tao skills?" Yi Chunfeng asked. "I obtained this jade slip from an ancient ruin after narrowly escaping death. After studying it, I found that there is a powerful restriction hidden within this jade slip. I spent several tens of years but was unable to unravel this restriction, nor was I able to find out its true value. However, judging from the powerful restrictions hidden within the jade slip, this jade slip definitely hides a big secret. So, 1,000,000 points is definitely not expensive," the silver-haired old woman said slowly. "All right, I'll buy it." With the God-Eater brain, Yi Chunfeng could break any restriction. Without any hesitation, he happily paid 1,000,000 points and obtained the mysterious jade slip from the silver-haired old woman. "Junior, on account of you buying something from me, I'll remind you of something. Someone wants to harm you, so be careful." The silver-haired old woman's turbid eyes swept across the crowd and saw an extremely inconspicuous man in gray clothes who was not very tall. "Thank you for the reminder, Senior. This junior will be careful." Yi Chunfeng had just discovered that someone was following him, but he did not care. After softly thanking the old woman, he got up and left. When Yi Chunfeng disappeared into the bustling crowd, the enchanting woman in a black dress, who exuded a mature charm, appeared. She glanced at Yi Chunfeng's back with a cold gaze, then turned and left. "Sigh, I really don't have enough points. How can I quickly earn points?" Although Yi Chunfeng had obtained 51 consecutive victories, he had only earned 3,000,000 points. Moreover, he had spent 21,000,000 points to buy 10 low-grade heaven crystals and the mysterious jade slip. If he wanted to enter the star field in 70 days, he still needed 18,000,000 points. If he wanted to participate in the auction, he needed to earn even more points. "Do I really have to continue selling treasures for points?" Yi Chunfeng sighed softly as he thought to himself. After returning to his room, Yi Chunfeng took out the dull and simple jade slip. He released his soul power into the jade slip and felt the mysterious restriction within the jade slip. What a brilliant method! The person who left the restriction in the jade slip is not simple. Their attainments in restriction runes are very deep. As for this restriction, it has probably existed for more than 100,000 years. Yi Chunfeng's soul had been tempered thousands of times and was incomparably powerful. However, when he relied on his powerful soul power to break the restriction, he failed. He immediately controlled the power of the God-Eater brain to penetrate into the jade slip. As the God-Eater brain's deduction speed increased to the peak, a large amount of soul power penetrated into the jade slip. At a speed of tens of thousands of times per second, it forcefully broke the restriction. Gotcha! After Yi Chunfeng spent several hours cracking the restriction for an entire night, a crack finally appeared on the jade slip's restriction. Phew, this jade slip's restriction is indeed powerful. Even with the God-Eater brain's heaven-defying power, it only managed to crack a crack after an entire night. Yi Chunfeng saw that the sun had risen. he stopped the God-Eater brain's deduction and simply adjusted his breathing to recover. He left the room and headed to the martial arts arena to participate in today's martial arts competition. After becoming a Gold Star warrior, the strength of Yi Qinfeng's martial arts opponents had obviously increased. The difficulty of the challenge had increased by a lot. After thousands of fierce exchanges, Yi Qinfeng, who pretended to be exhausted, defeated 2 martial arts opponents in a thrilling manner, completing a 53-match winning streak. After defeating 2 opponents, Yi Qinfeng glanced at the southwest corner of the spectators' stand with the corner of his eyes and revealed a trace of a strange smile. He made an appointment for tomorrow's martial arts competition and left the martial arts arena. He directly returned to the room and continued to crack the restriction on the jade slip. When the God-engulfing brain's rapid deduction and high amplitude continued to decipher until night fell, the restriction in the jade slip finally broke. Yi Qinfeng discovered an ancient divine ability in the jade slip, the stun spell. Secret divine ability. Yi Qinfeng raised his eyebrows and revealed an unexpected joy. Stun technique was a secret divine ability that directly attacked the soul. The stronger the soul, the stronger the dizziness caused by the stun technique, and the longer the duration. Yi Qinfeng's soul had been tempered thousands of times and was incomparably powerful. The stun technique was enough to make a level 5 beast emperor dizzy. Feeling that this stun technique was tailor-made for him, Yi Qinfeng suppressed the excitement in his heart and immediately controlled the God-Eater brain to imprint the stun technique's cultivation formula in his mind. He then calmly cultivated it. Just as he was comprehending the stun technique until late at night, his sharp perception passed through the restriction in the room and sensed danger. A powerful restriction shrouded the inn, sealing the entire inn. That enchanting woman with extraordinary strength appeared in the inn with 4 level 1 beast emperors. They were prepared to kill Yi Qinfeng and avenge the dead man in blood-red clothes. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 893. I was just worried that I didn't have enough points, and you guys came knocking on my door. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. Sensing the aura of the 5 people, Yi Qinfeng's lips curled up slightly and revealed a cold smile. 37 array flags that had been washed away by him flew out of his body and fused into the void. Boom! Yi Qinfeng had just summoned the array flags and formed an isolation restriction when the restriction outside the room was torn apart by brute force. Subsequently, the 5 people broke the door and barged in. Young lady, why are you here at my place so late at night? Could it be that your lover died and you want to fall in love with someone else? Yi Qinfeng sat cross-legged on the bed and revealed a faint smile. He said, however, I am not interested in your beauty. I'm afraid you have found the wrong person. You are about to die and yet you still dare to be so stubborn. I will let you have a taste of my methods in a while. I will make you beg me to kill you like a dog. The enchanting woman's eyes were shooting out flames of hatred as she gritted her teeth and spoke. That day will not come. Yi Qinfeng's lips curled up slightly. His hands moved together and activated the isolation restriction, isolating the entire room. The moment the 5 people were isolated by the array flags, their expressions changed slightly. An inexplicable sense of uneasiness arose in their hearts. They immediately attacked Yi Qinfeng together, wanting to capture him. Go to hell! The enchanting woman yelled out. 2 great Tao intents gushed out from her voluptuous body. She quickly deduced the 2 great Tao intents and formed a terrifying demonic art. The demonic art blasted towards Yi Qinfeng with astonishing power. The 4 true demon race experts didn't hold back either. They transformed into their beast soul forms and executed their most powerful demonic art. They rushed over like a rushing tide. Yi Chunfeng's expression didn't change at all when he was attacked by the alluring woman and the other three. He watched as the 5 great demonic arts bombarded his body. The incomparably sharp sword Dao pattern gushed out and turned into 5 exceptional divine swords. They cut through all obstacles and shattered the 5 great demonic arts. The 5 demonic arts were sent flying without any ability to resist. If Yi Chunfeng had not shown mercy, this sword strike would have been enough to kill all 5 of them and send them to hell. Who are you? Clutching their bleeding chests, the complexion of the enchanting woman and her companions changed. Even in their wildest dreams, they had never imagined that Yi Chunfeng's strength would be so terrifying. In front of him, they were like 5 children, without any strength to fight back. Who I am is not important. What's important is that you guys have made me a little unhappy. Tell me, how should I punish you? Yi Chunfeng said in a low voice as he looked coldly at the 5 of them. I advise you not to act recklessly. If you hurt us, you won't live either. A short, skinny man with an obvious scar on his face suppressed his uneasiness and warned loudly. Really? The corners of Yi Chunfeng's mouth curled up slightly as he said, but I don't believe in heresy. Furthermore, I hate it when people threaten me. So, those who touch my reverse scale die. As soon as he finished speaking, the 5 elements Dao intent gushed out from Yi Chunfeng's body and turned into a 5 elements giant hand. It grabbed at him with astonishing power. The 5 elements giant hand grabbed at him. The 5 of them burned their blood and chi at the same time to increase their strength to the greatest extent. Then, they used their demonic techniques to attack. However, the difference in strength between them and Yi Chunfeng was too great. The demonic techniques they used could not shake the 5 elements giant hand that was covered with multiplication Dao patterns and had terrifying power. Boom! The demonic techniques used by the 5 of them were crushed by the 5 elements giant hand. Under the despairing gaze of the short man, the 5 elements giant hand crushed his body and directly crushed him into minced meat. He died on the spot. I killed him. Which one of you wants to avenge him? The corners of Yi Chunfeng's mouth curled up slightly, revealing a trace of an evil smile. He looked at the 4 of them who were like birds, startled by the twang of a bow, and deliberately asked, Today is our fault. As long as you are willing to let us go, I promise that I will not trouble you in the future. Looking at the short man who had turned into minced meat on the ground, the 4 of them were frightened out of their wits. They lowered their noble heads and kept begging for mercy. They prayed that Yi Chunfeng would let them go. What if I am not willing? Yi Chunfeng's mouth curled up slightly and said without a trace of emotion, Sir, as long as you are willing to let us go, we are willing to pay any price. Beads of sweat appeared on the forehead of the enchanting woman who was trembling slightly as she pleaded. At least you are tactful. Yi Chunfeng suddenly revealed a smile and said, Tell me, how many points do you have? If you have enough points, I can consider sparing your lives. I have 3 million points. I have 2 million points. I have 800,000 points. I just spent my points. I still have 100,000 points. The enchanting woman and the others scrambled to speak first. What? 100,000? Yi Chunfeng stared and said with a murderous aura, What is the use of keeping a pauper like you? When he saw the murderous aura in Yi Chunfeng's eyes, this true demon race expert was afraid and quickly said, Wait, I might not have many points, but as long as you let me go, I can ask my father to give you 5 million points. 5 million points? Do you think I am a beggar? Yi Chunfeng sneered and said, Each of you have to give me at least 10 million points. Otherwise, I will immediately send you to hell. 10 million points. The true demon race might have a cooperative relationship with the Xingluo Heaven City, but the Xingluo Heaven City would not give them points for no reason. Therefore, 10 million points was already a lot for them. If you don't have them, then die. Yi Chunfeng didn't waste time talking to him. His sword Dao pattern gushed out and condensed into a sword of Dao will. He slashed at Yi Chunfeng with an invincible slash. The sword broke through Yi Chunfeng's defenses and split him in half. Now that he is dead, your points will be split among the three of you. Therefore, if you want to live, each of you will have to give me 15 million points to redeem your lives. Yi Chunfeng looked at the three of them who were so frightened that their faces were pale and their bodies were trembling. He questioned them without a trace of emotion. Yes. With our identities, the clan will definitely be willing to use 45 million points to redeem us. Witnessing the scene of Yi Chunfeng killing 2 people in a row, the eyes of the bewitching woman and the other 2 widened in fright. They did not dare to disobey Yi Chunfeng's orders at all, and they hurriedly promised. All right, then you will send a message to the clan and ask for the points. Yi Chunfeng nodded and ordered in an irresistible tone, remember, if you don't ask for the points or spout nonsense, you will end up like the 2 of them. Yes. The enchanting woman and the other 2 trembled as they took out their communication beads. They fabricated a reason and asked for the points from the clan. As 15 million points was not a small amount, although the reason they came up with was not bad, the 3 of them asking for a large amount of points at the same time still attracted the suspicion of the true demon clan's experts. In the end, under Yi Chunfeng's instructions, they agreed on a place to exchange the points. Although Yi Chunfeng had a premonition that there would be an accident during the exchange of points, he did not care about it. With his current strength and the sword puppet which was a level 6 combat beast emperor, even if he encountered a level 6 combat beast emperor from the true demon clan, he would not be afraid. Alright, let's go. We will wait for your clansmen at the agreed place. Yi Chunfeng controlled the Tao intent of life and death and applied the seal of life and death on the 3 of them, sealing their hearts and veins. He said, if your clansmen dare to play any tricks during the exchange, then don't blame me for being merciless and sending the 3 of you to hell. After he finished speaking, Yi Chunfeng took back the formation flags that were used to restrict the space. Then, he led the 3 people, who were feeling uneasy, to the rendezvous location. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to read it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 894. In the northwest of the Triple Lightning Dominion, there was a hill with a complicated terrain. A type of black bamboo grew on the hill. Looking from afar, the undulating bamboo looked like a black ocean. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. They're here. Yi Chunfeng stepped into the dark night and arrived at the black bamboo forest with the enchanting woman and her 2 companions. His sharp senses detected 6 powerful experts approaching quickly, and he revealed a smile. Among the 6 people, 2 of them were level 4 beast emperors, while the other 4 were level 3 beast emperors. With the strength of the 6 of them, if they were in the eastern continent, the Yu family would be wary of them. However, to the current Yi Chunfeng, they were not a threat at all. Yi Chunfeng acted as if he did not sense their presence. Silently, he sat behind the enchanting woman and her 2 companions, waiting for them to arrive. Yen! A deep voice broke the silence of the black bamboo forest. 6 true demons experts appeared at the same time, surrounding Yi Chunfeng and his 3 companions. Father, save me! Looking at the tall and straight middle-aged man in a black robe, who had a thick black beard and demonic aura surrounding his body, the enchanting woman seemed to have found her backbone and begged loudly for mercy. So, just as she finished her words, a sharp sword ray cut her neck. Immediately, a large amount of blood flowed out, dyeing her snow-white neck red. This is only a warning. If you speak carelessly again, I will definitely cut off your head and send you to the afterlife. Although the enchanting woman was beautiful, Yi Chunfeng would never show mercy to his enemies. He warned her without a trace of emotion. Brat, how dare you injure people in front of us? An old man with snow-white hair, sunken eyes, and a fiendish appearance ordered fiercely, "If you know what's good for you, release Yen-Er and her 2 companions. Otherwise, I will make you beg for death." "Don't talk nonsense. Did you bring the 45 million points?" Yi Chenfeng said coldly. "If you didn't, then you can just wait to collect their corpses. You." The ferocious old man did not expect Yi Chenfeng to be so arrogant. His face sank as a powerful baleful aura erupted from his aged body. "What? You don't want them to live anymore? Since that's the case, I'll send the 3 of them to their deaths." As he spoke, Yi Chenfeng's body burst out with swift and fierce sword Dao patterns. They condensed into 3 peerless swords that emanated swift and fierce killing intent as they hovered above the heads of the 3 people. "We'll give you 45 million points, but you have to swear that once we give you the points, you'll release them immediately," the black-clothed man said in a low voice. His face was extremely gloomy as he tried his best to control his emotions. "You have no right to bargain with me. If you don't give me the points, I will kill them immediately," Yi Chenfeng said coldly. "All right, I'll give you the points, but if you dare to lie to me, I'll definitely exterminate your entire family and imprison you for 100 years. The black-clothed man took a deep breath and suppressed the killing intent in his heart. He took out 3 points cards with 15 million points on each card and threw them to Yi Chenfeng. "And you guys are indeed rich and overbearing. I wonder how much ransom your clans will pay to redeem your lives if I capture you guys?" Yi Chenfeng kept the 3 points cards into his universe ring. The corner of his mouth curled up slightly as he revealed a cold smile. He suddenly burst out from the ground and launched an attack at them. When they saw Yi Chenfeng attacking, the black-clothed man and the other 5 people were startled. They didn't expect that Yi Chenfeng would take the initiative to deal with them before they even made a move. "You're courting death," the white-haired old man who came back to his senses roared. A celestial treasure ruler covered in ancient runes flew out of his mouth. It constantly enlarged and whipped towards Yi Chenfeng with a shocking momentum. Yi Chenfeng immediately swung his fist to meet the celestial treasure ruler's attack. The Tao insights of the 5 elements and the Tao insights of life and death covered his fist and formed a multiplying Tao insight pattern. He smashed his fist onto the celestial treasure ruler. Crack! The Tao insights of the 5 elements and the Tao insights of life and death erupted at the same time. The terrifying Tao insights forcefully shattered the extremely hard celestial treasure ruler. "What?" The white-haired old man and the others looked as if they had seen a ghost when they witnessed the scene before them. They never imagined that Yi Chenfeng's strength would actually be so powerful that he could shatter a celestial treasure with a single punch. Just as they were hesitating, a light flashed beneath Yi Chenfeng's feet. He appeared in front of the black-clothed man and the others like a bolt of lightning and launched a fierce attack on them. In order to end the battle quickly, Yi Chenfeng unleashed his full strength. His palm that was filled with the Tao insights of the 2 elements and the Tao insights of life and death continued to fall. The terrifying palm force seemed to be able to smash through the sky. The black-clothed man, the white-haired old man, and the others vomited blood and were forced to retreat continuously. The 4 level 3 combat beast emperors of the true demon clan were severely injured by the giant palm that covered the sky. They fell to the ground while vomiting blood and almost lost the ability to continue fighting. True demon heaven technique. Their attacks were completely suppressed by Yi Chenfeng. The level 4 combat beast emperors of the black-clothed man and the white-haired old man immediately ignited the power of their bloodline and transformed into their beast souls. They quickly circulated the true demon heaven technique and released billowing demon chi to attack Yi Chenfeng. True demon sword. The 2 of them unleashed the demon chi in their bodies to the extreme. They immediately condensed 2 demon swords that were completely made of demon chi and slashed towards Yi Chenfeng, breaking 10,000 Tao insights with strength. Facing the two's ultimate moves, Yi Chunfeng relied on his powerful physical strength to resist the attack. He relied on his absolute strength to break the two's ultimate move. Skyfire Fist of the Great Sun. Following that, Yi Chunfeng unleashed the Tao insights of the 5 elements to the extreme. He blasted out 2 fists that were like blazing suns. They distorted the space and blasted towards the 2 of them. True Demon Heaven Technique, Demon Chi Seal. Feeling the aura of death from the Skyfire Fist of the Great Sun, the black-clothed man and the white-haired old man immediately controlled their demon chi and Tao insights to seal the space and block the attack of the Skyfire Fist of the Great Sun rumble. The 2 fists that were like blazing suns exploded in front of the 2 of them. The terrifying Tao insights tore apart the demon chi that sealed the space and shook their blood and chi, causing them to retreat. Before they had a chance to take a breather, Yi Chunfeng appeared behind them like a ghost. He unleashed a powerful force and blasted them on their back. Crack! The sound of 2 bones breaking could be heard. The black-clothed man and the white-haired old man's backs were shattered by Yi Chunfeng. They spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood and fell from mid-air to the ground. They smashed 2 huge pits in the ground. Seeing the black-clothed man and the white-haired old man, who were the strongest among them, being level 4 combat beast emperors, being defeated, the other 4 level 3 combat beast emperors of the true demon tribe fled in panic. Die! Yi Chunfeng's eyes shot out rays of light and locked onto the 4 of them. 4 extremely sharp sword rays slashed across the sky. They were intertwined with 10 layers of sword Tao. They were directly split into 2 from head to toe, killing them on the spot. Following that, Yi Chunfeng continued to attack. He intertwined Tao patterns and blasted the black-clothed man and the white-haired old man. He aggravated their injuries and caused them to lose their combat strength. They fell to the ground weakly and spat out blood. Not bad, not bad. I caught 2 big fish again. Yi Chunfeng looked at the black-clothed man and the white-haired old man who were spitting out blood and were severely injured. He pondered for a moment and said, "Come, tell me how many points you are worth. If you are not worth it, I will send you to the next world." The black-clothed man was so angry that he spat out blood. Never in his wildest dreams did he expect that he would not only fail to rescue them, but he would also be held hostage. This humiliation made him feel so ashamed that he wanted to die. "Cut the crap. I will kill whoever dares to spout nonsense." Yi Chunfeng glared and warned loudly, "The 2 of you, each of you ask for 30 million points from the family as ransom. The 3 of you, each of you ask for 10 million points from the family as ransom." Yi Chunfeng, who had just extorted 45 million points, was addicted. He continued to extort the true demon tribe. Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 895. Our Great Demon Envoy wants to speak with you. Watermark Advertisement Test. Watermark Advertisement Test. Under Yi Chunfeng's heaven-shaking coercion, the black-clothed man, who had been tortured to the point of hovering between life and death, had no choice but to obediently take out his communication pearl and send a message to the great demon envoy, who was in charge of guarding Star All Heaven City, asking for points. "Give it to me." Yi Chunfeng took the communication pearl from the black-clothed man's hand and ordered, "If you don't want them to die, then obediently give me 100 million points. Otherwise, I guarantee that they won't live to see tomorrow's sun." Hearing Yi Chunfeng increase the ransom, the black-clothed man and the others nearly vomited blood. They were worried that the great demon envoy would pay such a high price for them. After all, the true demon clan had to take out 100 million points. "Brat, I don't care who you are, but I can clearly tell you that in the entire Xingluo continent, there is no one who dares to blackmail me," the great demon envoy gloomily said. All right, I admit that you are very fierce and invincible. But, so what? Are you going to bite me? Yi Chunfeng nonchalantly said, cut the crap. 100 million points. If it's a single point less, then I'll kill them. When had the great demon envoy ever suffered such humiliation? He was so angry that his entire body trembled. He wished that he could reach out and strangle Yi Chunfeng through the communication pearl. That great demon envoy, is it? Everyone's time is precious, so don't be so fussy. Are you going to give me the points or not? Yi Chunfeng impatiently urged. Brat, if you harm them, then I promise to exterminate your entire family. The great demon envoy angrily threatened. Ah! Just as the great demon envoy's voice fell, the Tao of the 5 elements gushed out from Yi Chunfeng's body, condensing into a hand of Tao. It carried with it a suffocating pressure as it ruthlessly crushed towards the emperor-level powerhouse beside the enchanting woman, directly crushing his body and sending him to the afterlife. Did you hear that? I killed your people, but what can you do to me? Yi Chunfeng said coldly, so you'd better not provoke me. If you annoy me, I'll send them to hell one by one. No, don't kill us. As long as you let me go, I'm willing to serve you as your slave. I'm willing to give you everything I have. The enchanting woman didn't want to die. After witnessing Yi Chunfeng's merciless killing, her heart had long since collapsed. Her beautiful face turned pale as she begged for mercy, praying that Yi Chunfeng would spare her life. However, Yi Chunfeng remained unmoved by the alluring woman's pleas for mercy. His killing intent grew thicker and thicker as he coldly warned, I will count to 3. If you don't give me a satisfactory answer, don't blame me for continuing to kill. Brat, I can clearly tell you that we are from the true demon tribe. Even the White, Jiang, and Jasper palaces would not dare to offend us. Hearing Yi Chunfeng starting to count, the great demon envoy immediately became anxious. He announced his identity to pressure Yi Chunfeng. However, he didn't know that Yi Chunfeng already knew their identities. The blood demon envoy, who was a level 5 combat beast emperor, had even died in Yi Chunfeng's hands. True demon tribe, I've never heard of it, Yi Chunfeng deliberately said. Now, the count of 3 has passed. Who do you think I should send to hell? You then. You're already a bag of old bones and don't have many days left to live. Why don't you die early and reincarnate? Yi Chunfeng's sharp gaze swept across the alluring woman and the others. Finally, he locked his gaze on the severely injured white-haired old man who had just threatened to kill him. Chi. A sharp sword light flashed past. The sword intent condensed from the sword Tao pattern cut through his body, splitting him into 2. Blood splattered everywhere and he died on the spot. Brat, I swear I'll make you regret living in this world. Hearing the miserable screams coming from the communication pearl, the great demon envoy fell into a violent rage. He was like an angry lion as he roared loudly at the communication pearl. It seems like you won't use 100 million points to redeem their lives. In that case, I'll send them to hell, Yi Chunfeng said indifferently. No, don't kill me. I beg you, don't kill me, the alluring woman shouted in despair. Wait, tell me where you are. I'll bring 100 million points to redeem them. The great demon envoy forcibly suppressed the anger in his heart and said in a low voice. All right, I'll wait for you at the Black Bamboo Forest in the northwest of the Triple Thunder Dominion. But if you dare to play any tricks, don't blame me for being ruthless. Yi Chunfeng told the great demon envoy his location and gave him a cold warning before closing the communication pearl. How do you think I should deal with you? Yi Chunfeng coldly said with his hands behind his back, looking at the 3 people who were like birds startled by the twang of a bow. Don't mess around. The great demon envoy will definitely use 100 million points to redeem our lives. Seeing Yi Chunfeng's icy eyes, the alluring woman was so scared that all the blood drained from her face. She constantly begged for mercy. Do you really believe he'll use 100 million points to redeem your lives? Do you really think he'll be so honest? Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up in a smile. He icily said, "If I'm not wrong, he will bring a massive number of masters to kill me." "No, that won't happen. The great demon envoy won't give up on us for 100 million points. Please wait a little longer." The alluring woman sobbed as she begged. "All right, don't deceive yourself." Yi Chunfeng didn't want to waste any more words with them. He walked behind the heavily wounded black-clothed man and controlled the power of the God-Eater brain to forcefully penetrate his spiritual sea. Pung! Just as the power of the God-Eater brain entered the black-clothed man's spiritual sea, it immediately detonated the spells in his spiritual sea, blowing apart his head. "Don't you know that there's a spell in your spiritual sea?" Yi Chunfeng glanced at the black-clothed man whose head had exploded and was lying in a pool of blood. He slowly walked towards the two screaming women. Pung pung! Two explosive sounds resounded, and the heads of the two people were also blasted open by the soul restriction spell. Then, they fell limply into a pool of blood and died. After killing all the experts of the true demon tribe, Yi Chunfeng took away their belongings and used their blood to leave behind 8 bloody words on the ground. "I'm tired of waiting, I don't care, I won't find." After leaving behind these words, a light flashed beneath Yi Chunfeng's feet as he rapidly flew out of the black bamboo forest. Yi Chunfeng had just flown out of the black bamboo forest when his powerful soul immediately sensed the aura of the great demon envoy. He didn't hesitate to hide in the universe mirror. "Seal off the black bamboo forest. Don't even let a single mosquito escape." Flying above the black bamboo forest, the great demon envoy wore a black robe with cloud patterns. His face was gloomy and his eyes flashed with killing intent. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Just as the great demon envoy's voice fell, there was an ear-piercing sound as dozens of true demon race masters flew into the black bamboo forest. They released their powerful soul force and sealed off the entire black bamboo forest. When the great demon envoy followed the thick scent of blood and arrived at the place where the enchanting woman and the others had died and saw the words Yi Chunfeng had left on the ground, billowing anger erupted from his chest like a volcano. His breathing became rapid and his lungs felt as if they were about to explode from anger. "Hateful villain, if I don't kill you then I'm not human." The great demon envoy couldn't help but roar. He faced the heavens and howled. His billowing sound waves were like thunder from the highest heavens, reverberating through the pitch-black night for a long time. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click on the Collect button below to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 896. I think that the great demon envoy will go crazy from anger when he sees the words I left behind. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. Yi Chunfeng, who was hiding in the universe mirror, smiled faintly. The image of the great demon envoy's distorted face appeared in his mind. I wonder how many points there are in those people's belongings. Yi Chunfeng checked the black-clothed man and the others' belongings one by one and obtained another 13 million points. In addition to the 45 million points he extorted, Yi Chunfeng still had about 40 million points left from the previous round. Yi Chunfeng now had almost 100 million points. It was enough to enter the star field and participate in the auction held there. However, after this incident, his identity token could no longer be used. Yi Chunfeng could only use his third identity token and continue to participate in the martial arts competition to accumulate victories. Fortunately, he no longer needed points. Slowly accumulating points for 2 months was enough for him to become a gold star expert. Aside from 13 million points, Yi Chunfeng also unexpectedly obtained 2 great Dao pills, 2 bottles of precious heavenly returning water, 10-odd pseudo-Dao pills, tens of thousands of peak-grade soul crystals, 2 quasi-Dao tools, several peak-grade heavenly tools, and other treasures from the universe rings of the black-clad man and the others. After collecting everyone's belongings, Yi Chunfeng sat in the core of the universe mirror, where the spirit energy was close to liquid state, and continued to cultivate the stun art. The stun art was extremely difficult to cultivate. However, Yi Chunfeng, who possessed the God-Eater brain, only used 4 days to completely master it. He looked for the King of Massacre, who had just broken through to the level 4 Beast Emperor realm, to test the power of the stun art. After controlling the Massacre City for hundreds of years, the King of Massacre had refined a large amount of heaven and earth spiritual items. His accumulation and cultivation foundation surpassed ordinary warriors, and his soul was even stronger. However, when he was attacked by Yi Chunfeng's stun art, his soul still felt dizzy for almost a second. Although 1 second was not long, in a battle between experts, this second was enough to change the outcome of the battle. After witnessing the might of the vertigo art, Yi Chunfeng revealed a satisfied smile. He did not hide anything and taught the vertigo art cultivation method to the spirit fish, King of Massacre, and Fu Qingshan. It had already been 7 days since the death of the enchanting lady and the others. Yi Chunfeng felt that the outside world should have calmed down. On a pitch-black night, he controlled the illusion Dao pattern and changed his appearance. He quietly left the universe realm and returned to the Triple Thunder region. He immediately went to the Thunder Pavilion and rented a Thunder Room for 2 months as a temporary lodging. Early the next morning, Yi Chunfeng took his new identity token and went to the battle arena to start fighting again. His battle strategy was the same as last time. He suppressed his strength to the level of a 5th-grade Defiant Beast King and fought with each opponent for hundreds or even thousands of moves. This made it impossible for others to see through his true strength. Just as Yi Chunfeng was participating in the battle arena every day and slowly accumulating his winning streak, Sha Bingyun and the True Demon Race's Great Law Protector worked together and carried out a thorough cleansing of the entire Xingluo Heaven City. The 4 ascension paths were directly closed. A large number of suspicious people were captured by the Xingluo Heaven City's experts and imprisoned in the prison. The entire Xingluo Heaven City's security was at the highest level. Except for a few disciples who had a close relationship with the Xingluo Heaven City, the geniuses of the other forces were all rejected at the door. As for Yi Chunfeng, who was in the 3rd layer of the Thunder Domain, he had been investigated twice in a month. Fortunately, the identity token that the Bai clan gave him was very clean, so the Xingluo Heaven City's experts did not find any problems. Time flew by and 2 months passed in a flash. In this 1.5 months, Yi Chunfeng fought steadily and steadily. He completed 50 consecutive victories without revealing anything and became a gold star cultivator in a very low-key manner. During this time, the unstable Xingluo Heaven City gradually regained its calm. The upper echelons of Xingluo Heaven City began to fully prepare for the upcoming Star Field auction. It's almost a month's time. It shouldn't be a problem to complete 80 consecutive victories. Yi Chunfeng calculated the time and continued to schedule matches and participate in the battle arena every day. Although Yi Chunfeng encountered stronger challenges towards the end, and there was no lack of half-step Emperor-level powerhouses, he still used 20 days to fight more than 3,000 rounds. After defeating an Emperor-level powerhouse, he completed his 80th consecutive victory. And this achievement finally attracted the attention of the upper echelons of the Eastern Thunder region. Protector Jean, what is the background of He Yen, who just achieved 80 consecutive victories? Which force does he come from? The Eastern Thunder region's region lord, Luoho, was wearing a dark golden robe. He was tall and sturdy, with long black hair casually draped over his shoulders. His face was angular, and under his bronze skin hid powerful strength. He looked at the soul image disc in his hand and asked in a low voice. The image that appeared in the soul image disc was the scene of Yi Chunfeng defeating an Emperor-level powerhouse and obtaining his 80th victory. According to our investigation, He Yan is suspected to be the disciple of our Xingluo continent's rogue cultivator, Daoist Shi. He is gifted with extraordinary strength. He defeated Jia Gujian, who is a level 1 beast emperor, by relying on his extraordinary endurance and endurance. He finally exhausted Jia Gujian's soul power and obtained the final victory. Protector Jin, who was thin, had a head of golden hair and a poisonous spider tattooed on his neck, reported. Daoist Shi's disciple. Luo Ho frowned slightly. He tapped his finger on the armrest and said, "If I remember correctly, Daoist Shi is dead." Yes, Daoist Shi is dead. He Yan should be the only disciple he left behind. Protector Jin nodded and said, "Not long ago, when our Xingluo Sky City was in turmoil, his identity was also investigated. There is no problem. Protector Jin, I am interested in this He Yan. Help me pass a message to him. Tell him that I admire him very much. Ask him if he is willing to be my subordinate. If he is willing, I can provide him with a large amount of cultivation resources." Luo Ho said with a devilish smile. "Yes, I will go and find him now. I think if he knows that the region lord has taken a fancy to him, he will be ecstatic." After that, Protector Jin left and went to Yi Chenfeng's rented Thunder Pavilion. "Young Master Yan, someone is looking for you." Yi Chenfeng had just returned to the Thunder Pavilion after walking around the market. The person in charge of the Thunder Pavilion immediately stopped him. "Who is looking for me?" Yi Chenfeng frowned slightly and asked in a low voice. "I am looking for you." Protector Jin, who was wearing a black robe and had a spider tattoo on his neck, walked out from the back hall and said slowly. He gave off a devilish feeling. "You are?" Yi Chenfeng looked at Protector Jin, who was a second-grade beast emperor, and asked indifferently. "I am the protector of the Eastern Thunder Territory. You can call me Protector Jin. The purpose of my visit today is to invite you to join the Eastern Thunder Territory on behalf of the Region Lord. I wonder if you are interested?" Protector Jin said with an arrogant smile. "Sorry, I have no intention of joining any forces at the moment." Yi Chenfeng shook his head and rejected him directly. "You really don't want to consider it?" Protector Jin did not expect Yi Chenfeng to reject. He frowned slightly and said somewhat unhappily, "It is your fortune that the Domain Master appreciates you. Furthermore, if you become the Domain Master's subordinate, you can enjoy all the cultivation resources in this 3-layer Thunder Territory. It is not an exaggeration to say that such a good thing is enough to drive any cultivator crazy." "Sorry, I am going to cultivate. If there is nothing else, you can go back." After that, Yi Chenfeng ignored Protector Jin's increasingly gloomy eyes and turned back to the rented Thunder Pavilion. "Damn it, unappreciative guy. You can only wait to be destroyed after rejecting the Region Lord." Protector Jin's eyes flashed with a cold light as he said in a gloomy voice. "Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You can see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support." Chapter 897. Well, why did you come back alone? Where is He Yan? Why didn't he come with you to see me? Luo Ho, who was lying in the arms of a plump woman and enjoying a massage, opened his eyes. Seeing the gloomy guardian Jin come back alone, he frowned slightly and asked coldly. "Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. Territory Master, He Yan is too arrogant. He refused to join us." Guardian Jin exaggerated the story, deliberately smearing Yi Chenfeng's reputation. "What an interesting boy. How dare he look down on my Eastern Thunder region?" Luo Ho's eyes flashed with killing intent. He showed a sinister smile and said, "Go, pass on my order. Ask Saber Leader to deal with him. If he refuses to join my Eastern Thunder region, then there is no need to keep him." "Yes, Territory Master. I will arrange it now." Protector Jin revealed a cold smile and quickly retreated. Domain Lord, don't bother with that brat who doesn't know how to appreciate favors. Let's go back to our room and let Ro serve you well, said a charming woman with a voluptuous figure who was wearing a thin gauze skirt. Haha, you are so considerate. Luo Ho laughed heartily and picked up the plump woman, who had a tender look in her eyes, by the waist, and walked towards the bedroom. Early in the morning, the soft sunlight spilled into the thunder room, waking Yi Chunfeng, who was absorbing thunder power and tempering his body, from his cultivation. After rejecting Luo Ho's invitation yesterday, Yi Chunfeng had a premonition that today's fight would not be easy. However, he did not care. After taking a bath and changing clothes, he came to the arena early. When Yi Chunfeng stood on the arena like a steel spear, resting with his eyes closed as he waited for today's opponent, the entire arena suddenly became noisy. Almost everyone's gaze was attracted by a tall and sturdy man who revealed his muscular upper body and carried 6 large sabers of different shapes and quality on his back. His footsteps were heavy and his footsteps were drawn to him. Saber leader, why is he here? Hasn't he sealed his saber for 2 years and not participated in fights? Yes, Saber Leader has sealed his saber after completing 100 consecutive victories and becoming a Diamond Star Cultivator. Is he going to fight again today? It's been 2 years since we last met. This Saber Chief's strength has become even more unfathomable. With his strength, I'm afraid he can be ranked among the top 50 experts of the star field. Seeing Dao Kuei appear in the competition area and walk towards the dueling ring, the entire spectator stands burst into an uproar. Many people revealed excited expressions, excited to be able to witness Dao Kuei's match. So, Dao Kuei coldly looked at Yi Chunfeng. His body flashed, and he gave off a powerful pressure as he appeared in front of Yi Chunfeng. He released his aura without holding back and pressed down on Yi Chunfeng. So the Blade Leader came for him. Sigh, did that Heiyan offend someone? He actually drew out the Blade Chief. Looks like his winning streak is about to end. It's not stopping. There's a 90% chance that he'll be killed by the Blade Leader. Looking at the two people standing on the arena, facing off against each other, many people sympathized with Yi Chunfeng. Almost no one believed that he would have the last laugh. That was because just the aura that the Saber Chieftain released made them feel a sense of trepidation. Peak Rank 2 Combat Beast Emperor. Looking at Dao Kuei, whose strong body was covered in scars, whose muscles were filled with great strength, and who carried 6 sabers on his back, Yi Chunfeng was neither happy nor sad. His expression did not change at all. You will definitely lose in 3 moves, Dao Kuei coldly said as he looked at Yi Chunfeng, who seemed to only be a rank 5 combat beast emperor. What if you can't defeat me in 3 moves? Yi Chunfeng faintly smiled and asked indifferently. Then 4 moves it is, Dao Kuei coldly said. You are very boring, Yi Chunfeng said somewhat speechlessly. He took out a pair of peak-grade heaven tier axes that weighed tens of thousands of kilograms. I have always treated the dead like this. As Dao Kuei spoke, the 6 sabers covered in ancient runes on his back felt the rising killing intent in his body and became restless. Chop! Dao Kuei roared and one of the sabers flew out automatically. He held the saber with ancient runes in one hand and slashed at Yi Chunfeng with a shocking saber aura. As the saber slashed out, the air became hurried and frantically fused with the saber, imperceptibly increasing the power of the saber. So strong. Dao Kuei's attack power has become so terrifying that Heiyan shouldn't be able to withstand 3 moves from him. Using the saber to enter the Dao. Dao Kuei's growth has reached a level that we can't estimate. Seeing Dao Kuei slashing out with his saber and leaving a deep saber mark in the air, the audience in the stands sucked in a breath of cold air and revealed a look of horror. Phantom Shift. Yi Chunfeng did not take Dao Kuei's attack head-on. His body flashed slightly and instantly created several afterimages as he dodged to the side. Let's see how many times you can dodge. Dao Kuei's aura increased once again. He pulled out his 2 sabers, and an astonishing power erupted from the soles of his feet. Under the shocked gazes of the audience, he launched an extremely fast attack at Yi Chunfeng. Great River Saber. Dao Kuei slashed out with his 2 sabers, which carried the power of mountains and rivers. Layer after layer, they slashed towards Yi Chunfeng, sealing off the space around his body to dodge. Using strength to break the power. Looking at the flashing saber light, Yi Chunfeng did not try to dodge anymore. Instead, he exploded with nearly 20 million Jin of strength and used his 2 axes to meet the attack. He relied on his absolute strength to shake off Dao Kuei's attack. Crazy. This He Yan is definitely crazy. He actually wants to attack Dao Kuei head-on. It seems like this battle is going to end early. Boom. Boom. Yi Chunfeng's 2 axes chopped down on the great river saber with the power of mountains and rivers. Exploding sounds were heard everywhere and light rays shot out. The powerful chi force fiercely clashed against the light of the restriction, causing ripples to appear. Boom. Boom. Relying on his strength to tear apart Dao Kuei's attack, Yi Chunfeng, who had suppressed his realm to the level of a rank 5 Beast King, was forced to take a few steps back and spit out a mouthful of blood. What? He blocked it? He really blocked Dao Kuei's attack. This He Yan is indeed worthy of being an expert with an 80-win streak. He does have some skills. I hope he can cause some trouble for Dao Kuei and let us enjoy watching. I didn't expect you to not be trash. Looking at Yi Chunfeng, who had broken the great river saber and lost control of his body, Dao Kuei frowned slightly. He used a strange footwork and continued to attack Yi Chunfeng with his 2 sabers. Under his extremely fast attacks, the entire battle arena was filled with crisscrossing saber shadows, which instantly engulfed Yi Chunfeng. Facing the saber lights that came from all directions, Yi Chunfeng used his 2 axes to counterattack with ease. Relying on his powerful strength, he continuously shattered the saber light. After a round of fierce attacks, Dao Kuei's attacks were once again broken apart by Yi Chunfeng's strength. Dao Kuei's expressionless face revealed a surprised expression for the first time. What a strong body! What great strength! Dao Kuei knew how terrifying that round of attacks was. Even a normal rank 3 Beast Emperor would find it difficult to block it. However, Yi Chunfeng had only paid the price of a light injury to block it. This made Dao Kuei quite surprised. However, he did not slow down his attacks and continued to attack Yi Chunfeng with his 2 sabers. He wanted to heavily injure Yi Chunfeng in one go and gain an overwhelming advantage. Dao Kuei's attacks became more and more fierce and unfathomable. However, with Yi Chunfeng's powerful soul, he could easily see through Dao Kuei's weak point. He continuously attacked and interrupted Dao Kuei's continuous attacks, making Dao Kuei feel quite uncomfortable. Gradually, Dao Kuei, who felt like his hands and feet were tied, lost his patience. With a thought, he used the 2 ancient rune-heavy swords and used his soul to control them to launch a fatal attack on Yi Chunfeng. Mobile reading site, book address. To facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 898. Fourth-fold Saber Aura. Dao Kuei shouted. The 4 ancient sabers turned into 4 long rivers of saber light, stacked together, and slashed toward Yi Chunfeng with a shocking aura. This saber attack overlapped, rising and falling one after another. The entire space was affected by the 4-fold saber aura, falling into chaos. A large amount of air exploded from the slash. Dao Kuei's move could be said to be extremely terrifying. It was so fast that there was almost no gap. However, Yi Chunfeng's soul was too strong. He easily saw through the weakness of the 4-fold saber aura and chopped with both axes. Bang! Bang! The connection between the 4 ancient sabers was severed by Yi Chunfeng's axes. The 4-fold saber aura, which was powerful enough to injure a rank 3 battle beast emperor, was broken in midair. Dao Kuei frowned slightly. He did not expect Yi Chunfeng to break his killing move so easily. A trace of astonishment appeared on his cold and arrogant face. When the spectators in the spectator stand saw this scene, they revealed expressions of disbelief. No matter how they racked their brains, they could not figure out how Yi Chunfeng's seemingly ordinary 2 moves could so easily break the saber head's 4 layers of saber move. 6 sabers unleashed, 100 saber mountain. Sensing that Yi Chunfeng was far more difficult to deal with than he had imagined, Dao Kuei no longer held back. With a thought, he used the last 2 strange-looking ancient sabers, one black and one red, controlling the 6 ancient sabers at the same time to attack Yi Chunfeng. Saber lights, each stronger than the last, slashed down, overlapping each other like a mountain of sabers. The saber intent was so strong that the void was riddled with holes. Seeing Dao Kuei's 100 saber mountain coming at him, Yi Chunfeng immediately controlled his God-Eater brain to quickly deduce. He instantly saw through the saber mountain's only weakness and through the heavy axe in his hand. Bang! The heavy axe, which contained 20 million gene of force, smashed into the saber mountain's only weakness like a hot knife through butter. The powerful force instantly shattered the saber mountain. Following that, Yi Chunfeng leaped into the air, his entire body fusing with the other heavy axe in his hand, transforming into a giant axe that could split the heavens and split the earth. With one swing of the axe, he broke through the 100-layer mountain of blades that Dao Kuei had unleashed. What? I'm not dreaming, am I? Dao Kuei's killing moves were broken one after another. Then how did He Yan do it? Could it be that he is very familiar with the moves that Dao Kuei uses? You know the weaknesses of these moves? Witnessing the battle in front of them, gasps could be heard from the stands. Everyone was stunned by Yi Chunfeng's shocking methods. It seems that I have truly underestimated you. You are worthy of my full-strength attack. His attacks were broken one after another. The saber chief's eyes shone with a cold light. A heavy and sharp saber force was released from his body, condensing into a phantom of an ancient saber behind him. Saber Dao, 7th Firmament. Feeling the Saber Dao aura coming from Dao Kuei's body, Yi Chunfeng revealed an expression of shock. He had not expected Dao Kuei to have cultivated the Saber Dao to such an extent. It seems like I can only use the stun art. Yi Chunfeng did not want to expose too much of his strength. His body flashed slightly as he took the initiative to approach Dao Kuei. Die. When Dao Kuei saw that Yi Chunfeng dared to approach, he roared and fused 70 Saber Dao patterns into the 6 ancient sabers. He launched a fatal attack at Yi Chunfeng and ended the battle. Using the 7th Firmament Saber Dao, Dao Kuei's attack power had reached an extremely horrifying level. However, Yi Chunfeng's reaction was even faster. Using the form-shifting shadow, he dodged the 6 ancient sabers' fatal attack. Following that, Yi Chunfeng's soul spirit erupted. It was like a heavy hammer smashing into Dao Kuei's mind, causing his soul spirit to tremble violently. It produced an intense sense of dizziness and forcefully interrupted Dao Kuei's attack. Cloud-shattering palm. Yi Chunfeng took a step forward, and 20 million pounds of force gushed out from his fist. The powerful attack power was amplified and ruthlessly imprinted on Dao Kuei's chest. PFFF. Dao Kuei's defense was broken, and a powerful force surged into his body like a tide, injuring his body. His chest caved in, and a large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. Dao Kuei is injured. He was actually injured by He Yan. Heavens! That He Yan can't really defeat Dao Kuei, right? Witnessing Dao Kuei vomiting blood from Yi Chunfeng's attacks and retreating in defeat, the spectators in the spectator stands were completely stunned. The previously noisy arena immediately quieted down. "Yua, what kind of power did you use?" Dao Kuei, who had recovered, asked in shock as he clutched his severely injured chest. "Submit to me, and I will tell you." Dao Kuei's talent was very high. He had cultivated the saber Tao to the 7th firmament. In the future, if he continued to temper himself, his development would be limitless. This made Yi Chunfeng want to subdue Dao Kuei. Don't even think about it. The arrogant Dao Kuei roared and continued to erupt with the 7th firmament saber Dao. Controlling the 6 ancient sabers, he used the fiercest killing move to attack Yi Chunfeng. However, Yi Chunfeng's reaction was even faster. His body flashed slightly, creating several afterimages. Before the 6 ancient sabers could land, he suddenly closed in on Dao Kuei and continued to use the stun technique to attack Dao Kuei's soul. Although Dao Kuei had been on guard, Yi Chunfeng's soul was much stronger than his. The stun technique was incomparably mysterious. Under the heavy hammer-like attack of the stun technique, Dao Kuei's soul trembled, and he once again felt a severe sense of dizziness. "It's over." A sound like muffled thunder came from Yi Chunfeng's feet. His muscles and bones sounded at the same time, and he erupted with a shocking power, ruthlessly bombarding Dao Kuei's heavily injured chest. Pfff. A large amount of blood spurted out from Dao Kuei's mouth. Dao Kuei was like a kite with a broken string, drawing a beautiful arc in the air before falling out of the arena, losing the match. He won. That He Yen really won. He defeated the Diamond Star cultivator Dao Kuei. This He Yen is odd. Did you guys feel it? After Dao Kuei used his Dao intent, the 2 attacks he launched were strangely interrupted. I think this He Yen is hiding a great secret. There was no lack of experts in the stands. Many people found this suspicious, and their gazes toward Yi Chunfeng underwent a subtle change. Just what kind of power did you use? Spitting out blood, Dao Kuei, who had fallen out of the arena, climbed up in a sorry state. He looked at Yi Chunfeng, who had defeated him, and asked again. I said, submit to me, and I'll tell you. Yi Chunfeng put his hands behind his back, looked at Dao Kuei, whose mouth was overflowing with blood, and transmitted his voice. No, I won't submit to anyone. Even if it's the Eastern Region Lord Luoho, I only have a cooperative relationship with him. The proud and arrogant Dao Kuei once again refused. Dao Kuei, perhaps one day you will regret your decision today. Not everyone is qualified to submit to me. Yi Chunfeng looked at Dao Kuei coldly and arrogantly. Then, he sent a voice projection to Dao Kuei before turning to leave. After defeating the Saber Chief, Yi Chunfeng's name thoroughly spread throughout the martial arts arena. Furthermore, the Star Collection Heaven City's martial arts competition had a clear rule that if one defeated a Diamond Star expert with 100 victories, one could directly obtain 10 consecutive victory points. In addition, his following martial arts competition opponent had directly admitted defeat, allowing him to obtain 92 consecutive victory points. It's time to go to the Star Sector. Feeling that Luo Ho would not give up, Yi Chunfeng did not want to have an early conflict with him. He left the Triple Thunder territory, spent 50 million points, and entered the highest space of Xingluo Sky City. It had a boundless starry sky, and the star sector that made the warriors of the Xingluo continent jealous. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. The next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 899. Such pure spirit energy. This star field is truly worthy of being the highest grade space in Xingluo Heaven City. Cultivating here will definitely allow one to achieve twice the results with half the effort. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. After arriving at the star field, Yi Chunfeng immediately felt a surge of pure spirit energy rushing towards him. The spirit energy in the star field, be it the quality or the density, was several folds higher than the Triple Thunder Dominion. It was almost at the level of liquid. In the boundless starry sky, the sun and the moon weren't real. Instead, they were formed by tens of thousands of multiplying Tao patterns. In addition to the endless mysterious Tao patterns in the star field, there were also shops, restaurants, inns, and thunder pavilions. Furthermore, every building was emitting a simple and ancient aura. It was obvious that they had existed for countless years. Walking on the straight and clean streets of the star field, Yi Chunfeng noticed that there were very few martial artists in the star field, but they were all very strong. Half-step combat beast emperors were rare, and almost all of them were emperor-level experts. From their appearance, most of the emperor-level experts in the star field weren't old. If they were placed in the outside world, they would definitely be the most outstanding prodigies of various sections. They might even become the future successor of a sacred ground. For Xingluo Heaven City to be able to attract so many prodigies, it was enough to show how abundant the cultivation resources here were. It was enough to make any faction envious. As he walked, Yi Chunfeng discovered a restaurant built in the middle of a garden. It exuded a simple and unadorned air, with a small bridge overflowing water. Above the entrance of the restaurant, there was a dark golden signboard. On the signboard, there were 4 large golden words written in flamboyant calligraphy: wind, flower, snow, and moon. Such a poetic name. Yi Chunfeng released his soul spirit and scanned the place. He noticed that there were many powerful martial artists in the pavilion. He walked in and was prepared to rest here and inquire for information. "Young master, what would you like to eat?" Yi Chunfeng had just sat down when a fair-skinned, good-looking woman wearing a white chiffon dress and light makeup walked over with an ornate menu in her hands, asking softly, "What is it?" And, "I'll order the 4 green spirit flavors." Yi Chunfeng took the menu from the woman in the white dress and quickly flipped through it. Then, he ordered 4 kinds of spirit food that were cooked with special spirit materials, each worth 3,000 points. "Young master, please wait for a moment. The dishes will be served soon." The white-robed woman poured a cup of spirit tea for Yi Chunfeng, and immediately retreated to prepare. A level 1 defiant beast king. A woman with such looks and strength would definitely be a proud daughter of the heavens in the northern spirit region. She would have countless followers. But here, she could only shed her arrogance and become a maid who serves tea. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and sighed in his heart as he watched the woman in white leave. After a while, the 4 scents of green spirit, which exuded a strong spirituality, were served. With the increase in his strength, spirit food was no longer as attractive to Yi Chunfeng. However, after tasting the 4 flavors of green spirit food, Yi Chunfeng still felt his appetite increase greatly. As he savored the 4 scents of green spirit, Yi Chunfeng released his soul and covered the entire romantic floor, listening to everyone's conversation. As he listened, an important piece of information attracted Yi Chunfeng's attention. "Su Xiong, did you find out what treasures will be auctioned this time?" A woman in a tight dress that outlined her curvaceous body asked after she finished the wine in her cup. She was still very attractive and was wearing a tight dress that outlined her curvaceous body. "There aren't many treasures in this auction, but the 3 finale treasures are enough to attract people. The final item's price will probably set a record for the auction." The thin Su Xiong's gaze swept over the voluptuous woman's chest and said with a smile, "What exactly is the finale treasure?" Su Xiong's words aroused the interest of the charming woman, and she asked curiously, "If I tell you, how are you going to thank me?" Su Xiong revealed a mischievous smile and asked with bad intentions, "Su Xiong, didn't you want to sleep with this old lady? Tell me about the finale treasure, and this old lady will sleep with you for a night." The charming woman revealed a wanton smile and said fiercely, "Okay, it's a deal." Su Xiong's eyes lit up and said, "After I asked around, the finale treasure of this auction seems to be an extremely powerful supreme-grade Dao skill." Supreme-grade Dao skill? The voluptuous woman gasped and said in disbelief, "It can't be, right? Would Xingluo Heaven City be willing to take out a supreme-grade Dao skill for auction? This is related to their inheritance." I heard that the supreme grade Dao skill was not taken out for auction by Xingluo Heaven City, but I didn't find out which faction it came from. Su Xiong stared at the charming woman's charming body and said, "Now, I've told you the information that I've painstakingly found. Shouldn't you fulfill your promise?" "Su Xiong, if this old lady finds out that you lied to me, I'll definitely castrate you." The voluptuous woman glanced at him and warned. After saying that, she laughed wantonly, causing Su Xiong to swallow his saliva. A supreme grade Dao skill, will such an inheritance really appear in this auction? After hearing the conversation between the two, Yi Chunfeng also had a trace of doubt. After all, even in the three divine kingdoms, a supreme grade Dao skill was the top inheritance and would not be easily spread outside. Could this supreme grade Dao skill be the same as the sword steps, a conspiracy? Suddenly, Yi Chunfeng thought of the scene when the secret sword steps was auctioned at the Immortal Island. Then, he thought of the relationship between the true demon clan and the 8 divergent divine kingdom. Yi Chunfeng gradually sorted out some important information in his mind. However, he had the God-Eater brain, so he was not afraid of the true demon clan. He was very interested in the supreme grade Dao skill that might appear in this auction. After Su Xiong and the voluptuous woman left with their arms around each other's shoulders, Yi Chunfeng, who had obtained important information, did not stay for long. He paid 3,000 points and left the romantic floor. He went directly to the Xingluo Heaven Pavilion to exchange for treasures. The value of the treasures collected in the Xingluo Heaven Pavilion in the Star Field was much higher than in other places. There was no lack of high-quality and supreme-grade treasures. Yi Chunfeng, accompanied by a young and beautiful woman, chose for 30 minutes and spent 5 million points to exchange for 2 valuable spirit herbs of heaven and earth, 108 supreme-grade array flags, and 3 bottles of heaven-returning water. One of the 2 spirit herbs of heaven and earth was the fire-gold vine used to refine the true spirit body-quenching pill. Now Yi Chunfeng only lacked the true spirit fruit before he could start refining the pill. Once the true spirit body-quenching pill was refined, Yi Chunfeng would be able to cultivate his true spirit body to level 2. He would then transform the spirit pearl in his Yongquan acupoint into a true spirit pill, which would further increase his physical strength. After exchanging for the treasures, Yi Chunfeng found an extremely quiet inn built by the lakeside in the Star Field. He rented a room with an elegant environment. After rejecting a beautiful woman's request to accompany him, he cleared his mind of distracting thoughts and silently adjusted his breathing, waiting for the Star Field auction that was about to begin. As the auction approached, many top geniuses who were in seclusion in the Thunder Dao Heavenly Pavilion came out of seclusion. The usually deserted streets became relatively lively. Finally, the grand auction held in the Star Field began. Yi Chunfeng, who had changed into a new set of clothes, left the inn early in the morning. He went to the center of the city, where the auction venue was simple and magnificent. It was shrouded in a powerful seal. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 900. So many experts. On the way to the auction's main venue, Yi Chunfeng met many talented and outstanding disciples. Watermark advertisement test. Among them, there was a young man in a moon robe. He was tall and straight, with long black hair casually draped over his shoulders. He had a square face, sharp eyebrows, and dazzling starlight as he walked. He was a peak level 3 combat beast emperor. Although this man had deliberately concealed his strength, Yi Chunfeng still felt a strong sense of danger from him at first glance. Yes, Overlord Jian, Hua Luyu. When Yi Chunfeng arrived at the auction's main venue, which was shaped like an ancient bell, he saw his defeated opponents, Overlord Jian and Hua Lu. Although they had not seen each other for a while, and their strength had improved a lot, there was still a large gap between them and the man in the star robe Yi Chunfeng had just seen. Yi Chunfeng guessed that the man he had just seen was probably one of the top 5 geniuses in the star field. Buzz! Yi Chunfeng took out his identity token and handed it to the guard at the entrance. After a check, he was about to enter the auction's main venue, which was shrouded in restrictions. The ear-piercing sound of a sword pierced through the sky and shook the space, causing many weaker cultivators' eardrums to tremble. In the next moment, a man in a blue robe, with fair skin and a thick beard, giving off an unruly feeling, stepped on a flying sword and flew over in a domineering manner. "Look, it's Qianguqiu, the strongest of the star field's top 10 experts, Qianguqiu. I haven't seen him for more than a year, and this Qianguqiu has become even stronger. I wonder how much he has grown. A year ago, he could already defeat a level 5 combat beast emperor. Now that he has cultivated for more than a year, he should be able to kill a level 5 combat beast emperor expert." Seeing the blue-robed man fly directly into the auction's main venue, the various geniuses outside the auction's main venue discussed spiritedly. Many beautiful and talented women even revealed looks of admiration. "So he's Qianguqiu, one of the 10 great masters of the star field." When Yi Chunfeng saw Qianguqiu fly into the auction hall, a trace of battle intent flashed in his eyes. He followed behind several genius disciples and walked into the extravagant auction hall. There were large pieces of ancient jade hanging on the walls, and the atmosphere was heavy. Although there were many martial artists in Xingluo Sky City, like a school of carps crossing the river, the conditions to enter the star field were too harsh. Almost 99% of the martial artists did not have enough points, so there were not many genius disciples who were qualified to participate in the auction. Yi Chunfeng summoned the sword puppet in a place where no one was around and gave it all 40 million points. Then, he and the sword puppet went to the auction hall that was surrounded by the faint fragrance of orchids and whose walls were decorated with the gentle brilliance of crystals. The two of them found 2 inconspicuous places to sit down. Silence ensued as they waited for the auction to begin. "Qianguqiu, Pejuan, I didn't expect you to come so early." Just as Yi Chunfeng scanned the crowd of genius disciples in the auction hall, a thunderous voice rang out. A tall and burly man covered in thick black hair walked into the auction hall. He looked like a human-shaped monster with black fire tattoos tattooed on his arms, and he exuded an intense killing intent. Every step he took caused the ground to resonate with him. The power contained in his body was terrifying. "Butcher is here. It looks like the 10 great masters of the star field are almost all here. I wonder if there will be any changes in the rankings in the upcoming star field ranking tournament." There will be changes in the rankings in every star field ranking tournament, but the top 5 shouldn't change much. It's hard to say. I heard that Butcher pushed his body's potential to the limit in order to defeat Pejuan. Perhaps there will be some unexpected changes in the rankings in the upcoming star field ranking tournament. Looking at the burly Butcher, who exuded a powerful aura as he walked towards Qianguqiu and defeating armies, the various geniuses in the auction hall began to whisper amongst themselves. "He's Pejuan." Listening to the crowd's discussion, Yi Chunfeng finally found out the identity of the outstanding man in the star-robed robe. He was the star field's second-ranked genius, Pejuan. With the arrival of Qianguqiu, Pejuan, and Butcher, the top 3 ranked geniuses in the star field, experts from other star fields also arrived. Apart from the star field ranking tournament that was held once every 5 years, only a grand auction like this could attract the attention of all the experts in the star field. Dao Kuei, he actually came. Yi Chunfeng retracted his gaze from the various star field experts and closed his eyes to wait. He sensed that Dao Kuei, who had lost to him, had also appeared in the auction hall. The Saberhead was the absolute king of the third lightning domain. However, in the astral domain, he had lost the right to be arrogant. He looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was resting with his eyes closed, from afar. Then, he sat down in a corner. As time passed, the experts qualified to participate in the auction had basically all arrived. The tightly shut doors of the auction hall slowly closed, and a powerful restriction enveloped the entire auction hall, causing the light in the hall to become even brighter. Welcome everyone to this auction. My name is Bai Mei, and I am the auctioneer of this auction. An oval auction stage slowly rose from the ground, and a charming woman with light makeup and a tight black silk dress stood on the stage. She exuded a mature charm from head to toe. The close-fitting long dress accentuated her curvaceous and exquisite figure. Under the illumination of the crystal stone, it revealed the beauty of a classical temperament. Although this woman's appearance immediately stole the attention of almost all the males present, whether it was appearance, temperament, or seductive voice, she could not compare to Shui Hanyan. In terms of seduction, Shui Hanyan was flawless. For this auction, we have prepared a total of 33 treasures for everyone. Although the number of treasures is not many, each of them is of high quality. There are also ancient spirit herbs picked by the experts of Xingluo Heaven City in the ancient medicine garden. As for the final treasure of this auction, I believe everyone present has already inquired about it through this channel, so I will not keep you guessing. It is a superb Dao skill scroll. Feeling the burning gazes directed at her, the bewitching smile on Bai Mei's face became even wider as she introduced them in a pleasant voice. Sitting in the first row, Qiangu Qiu asked in a deep voice, "Miss Bai Mei, a superb Dao skill scroll is no trivial matter. Have you appraised the authenticity of the superb Dao skill scroll?" Qiangu Qiu was not the only one who doubted the authenticity of the final treasure. Almost all the genius disciples present were doubtful. After all, superb Dao skills were the most profound inheritance in the entire world. Apart from the 3 ninth-grade divine kingdoms in the central world, they were almost extinct in other places. Young Master Qian, rest assured, the old city lord has personally appraised that superb Dao skill scroll. There is no problem, so everyone can bid without worry. In order to dispel everyone's concerns, Bai Mei brought up Sha Tianya and said in a pleasant voice. Sure enough, after hearing that the superb Dao skill scroll had been appraised by Sha Tianya, everyone's doubts were immediately dispelled. However, they knew that a superb Dao skill scroll would definitely be auctioned for a sky-high price, and the number of people who could compete could be counted on one hand. Alright, I now announce the official start of this auction. Seeing that everyone had no more worries, Bai Mei did not delay any longer. She gently knocked the auction hammer on the jade green auction stage and announced, "Mobile reading website, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support." Chapter 901. The first treasure I have prepared for everyone is a set of 3 pseudo-Dao weapons, human, earth, and heaven ancient swords, obtained by the experts of Xingluo Heaven City in an ancient ruin. When these 3 ancient swords are combined, their power is comparable to a low-grade Dao weapon. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. The starting price is 100,000 points. Everyone may start bidding. Bai Mei took out 3 ancient pseudo-Dao knives from her Qian Kuan ring. They were of extraordinary quality, and were covered with ancient patterns. The handles were inlaid with huge crystals. She announced softly, "A complete set of pseudo-Dao weapons." Seeing the 3 ancient swords in Bai Mei's hand, Yi Chunfeng found that they were of extremely high quality and had been around for a long time. However, Yi Chunfeng majored in swordsmanship, and these 3 ancient swords were almost useless to him. Therefore, he did not let the sword puppet bid. Yi Chunfeng was not interested in the heaven, earth, and mortal sabers. However, the saber leader and the saber demon, who was ranked 5th among the top 10 martial artists in the star field, were very interested in this set of ancient sabers. This made the price of the 3 ancient swords rise steadily, and soon it rose to 18,000 points, which greatly exceeded their original price. In the end, the saber demon, who had more points than the saber chief, won the first ancient saber, the Heaven, Earth, and Man, with 23 million points. After the 3 ancient swords, Bai Mei took out Heaven and Earth spirit herbs, pseudo-Dao weapons, and Dao weapon fragments one after another. During this time, under Yi Chunfeng's instructions, the sword spirit puppet made a few moves and spent more than 30 million points to buy the last main ingredient of the true spirit body quenching pill, the true spirit fruit, as well as 2 extraordinary Taoist treasure fragments. Sigh, I have less than 6 million points left. I can only wait for a top-grade Dao skill to appear before bidding. Although Yi Chunfeng successfully bought the 3 treasures, he did not have many points left. In desperation, he could only give up bidding for the other treasures and patiently wait for the last treasure, a top-grade Dao skill, to appear. Yi Chunfeng told the sword puppet to give up on bidding, but the rich genius disciples who had accumulated enough points were fighting tooth and nail for this rare treasure. Among them, there were 2 extremely high-quality pseudo-Daoist treasures that were repeatedly sold for sky-high prices. This made Bai Mei beam with joy. Soon, the auction was nearing its end. There were only 3 items left, and they were the 3 most precious treasures. The 31st treasure in this auction is a low-grade Dao tool, the Purple Cloud Lightning Chasing Spear. When the experts from Xingluo Heaven City found this Dao spear, it was heavily contaminated and its attack power was greatly reduced. The old city lord spent several years using the crystal jade dew to clean its filth, and finally, it was able to display its strongest power. When the spear is thrust out, lightning flashes and thunder rolls. Its power has reached an extremely terrifying level. Everyone, if you want to surpass your level and defeat your enemy, then don't miss this opportunity. The starting price is 1 million points. Everyone may start bidding. Bai Mei deliberately glanced at defeating armies, who was ranked 2nd in the star field and was good at using spears. He hadn't bid all morning. 30 million points. Looking at the spear with purple electricity flowing around it, defeating armies' eyes revealed a rare expression. He was fond of the spear and directly increased the price by 30 times, showing his determination to obtain it. 50 million points. The star field ranking competition was about to begin. Ren Tu, who was ranked 3rd and wanted to replace defeating armies, would never allow defeating armies to obtain the Purple Cloud Lightning Chasing Spear to increase his strength. 80 million points. As soon as Ren Tu finished speaking, Qiangu Qiu continued to bid. His thoughts were the same as Ren Tu's. He didn't want Pa Jun to improve his strength before the star field ranking competition, nor did he want Pa Jun to compete with him for the final treasure. 100 million points. Defeating armies gently picked up the teacup on the table and took a sip of the tea that was exuding traces of spiritual energy. He bid the highest price so far. 100 million points shocked everyone, and almost 90% of the cultivators were disqualified from bidding. 130 million points. Although Qiangu Qiu knew that 100 million points exceeded the true price of the Purple Cloud Lightning Chasing Spear, he still bid a sky-high price to compete with defeating armies. Defeating armies frowned when he heard his old rival Qiangu Qiu's bid. He was making a decision in his heart. If he continued to bid and obtained the Purple Cloud Lightning Chasing Spear, he would lose the qualification to compete for the final 2 treasures. However, the Purple Cloud Lightning Chasing Spear was too tempting for him to give up. While defeating armies was making a decision with a frown, Qiangu Qiu also frowned. Like Yi Chunfeng, Qiangu Qiu majored in Sword Dao, so the Purple Cloud Lightning Chasing Spear was of little value to him. He didn't want to obtain it at all, and he regretted increasing the price too much. When Ren Tu saw defeating armies' attitude, he decisively gave up on bidding. He didn't want to lose the qualification to compete for the final 2 treasures because of the spear. 130 million point. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? Bai Mei asked softly as she looked around the auction house with a charming smile that never changed. After waiting for a moment, she picked up the auction hammer and was about to announce the owner of the purple cloud lightning chasing spear. However, defeating armies' frown eased as he shouted, 130,000,001 points. Phew! Qiangu Qiu let out a long sigh of relief when he heard defeating armies' bid. Although defeating armies only added 1 point, Qiangu Qiu and Ren Tu tacitly gave up on bidding and gave the low-grade Dao tool, the purple cloud lightning chasing spear, to defeating armies. Since no one wants to bid, I announce that the purple cloud lightning chasing spear belongs to defeating armies, Bai Mei announced softly as she put down the auction hammer in her hand. 130 million points for a low-grade Dao tool. Just how many points did these people accumulate? When Yi Chunfeng heard defeating armies, Qiangu Qiu, and the others' bids, he shook his head and muttered in his heart. The second last treasure we have prepared for everyone is the white jade snow king ginseng, an ancient spiritual herb that is over 200,000 years old. The second elder, who was killed by the villains, plucked it from the ancient herb garden not long ago. This white jade snow king ginseng is a legendary divine item for refining one's body. It can unlock the body's potential without limit and is the best item for those who walk the path of refining one's body. After consuming it, one's body will undergo a transformation. The starting price is 10 million points. Everyone may begin bidding. Bai Mei took out a snow-white ginseng from her universe ring. The ginseng was as thick as a child's arm, exuding traces of cold air, and covered in ancient patterns. She announced in a gentle voice. White jade snow king ginseng. Yi Chunfeng's eyes lit up. He was also very interested in the white jade snow king ginseng. However, compared to the white jade snow king ginseng, a supreme grade Dao tool was more attractive to him. He had no choice but to give up and watch as others competed for it. 100 million points. Defeating armies, who had just bid a high price for the purple cloud lightning chasing spear, immediately shouted. Defeating armies, you have so many points? Ren Tu, who was determined to get the white jade snow king ginseng, was enraged. What does this have to do with you? Defeating armies coldly glanced at the ferocious-looking butcher, and said without a trace of emotion. Good, good, good. Although Ren Tu guessed that defeating armies was deliberately causing trouble, this white jade snow king ginseng was too important to him. He couldn't let it go, so he gritted his teeth and increased the price. At this time, Qiangu Qiu, who didn't have a good relationship with Ren Tu, also bid. Soon, the price of the white jade snow king ginseng rose to a sky-high price of 150 million points. In the end, Ren Tu, who had paid a painful price and was so angry that he almost vomited blood, won the white jade snow king ginseng. Ren Tu, whose heart was bleeding, had won the white jade snow king ginseng. Qiangu Qiu revealed a cold smile. In his opinion, after defeating armies and Ren Tu paid a sky-high price, they were no longer able to compete with him for the final treasure. The supreme grade Dao tool was already in his bag. Mobile reading home, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the save button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 902. Isn't everyone looking forward to the final item? Alright, I won't waste any more of your precious time. Now, let's begin the auction's final item, the most precious item of this auction, the Supreme Grade Dao Skill, Life and Death Dao. Watermark Advertisement Test. Watermark Advertisement Test. As she spoke, a tortoiseshell the size of a palm appeared in Bai Mei's hand. The tortoiseshell's surface was engraved with a large number of extremely mysterious and small words. The moment the tortoiseshell appeared, it attracted everyone's attention. Countless pairs of burning eyes seemed to want to melt the tortoiseshell. A supreme grade Dao skill can be said to be the top inheritance of our Xingluo continent. If not for the seller's insistence on auctioning it, I would have wanted to keep it for myself in Xingluo Heavenly City. Bai Mei revealed a mesmerizing smile when she felt the burning gazes of the crowd. She continued to stir up the crowd's interest. Life and death Dao skill. Life and death Dao skill. Life and death Dao skill. Yi Chunfeng's eyes lit up. He felt that this supreme grade Dao skill was tailor-made for him. When he used the life and death Dao skill, its power would reach an extremely terrifying level. The starting bid is 50 million points. Everyone may place their bids. Bai Mei felt that the atmosphere in the auction hall had reached its peak, so she didn't waste any more time. 100 million points. Qian Guqiu, who had a confident expression on his face, bid 120 million points. Although many people didn't want to offend Qian Guqiu, the supreme grade Dao skill, life and death Dao skill, was too tempting. Soon, the price of the life and death Dao skill rose to 160 million points, setting the record for this auction. 200 million points. Qian Guqiu gritted his teeth and madly bid 300 million points. Just as Qian Guqiu's bid made 99% of the people give up, the sword puppet, under Yi Chunfeng's instructions, made a bid that shocked everyone present. What? 300 million? Qian Guqiu was shocked by the sword puppet's bid. He immediately turned his head to look at the puppet with a gloomy expression. Everyone else was also shocked by the sword puppet's bid. They looked at the unfamiliar and arrogant sword puppet and tried to guess its origins. You really have 300 million points? Qian Guqiu said doubtfully. Even as the leader of the top 10 powerhouses in the star field, he did not have 300 million points. Would I shout if I didn't? The sword puppet asked as it glared at Qian Guqiu with a sharp gaze. Qian Guqiu never thought that the sword puppet would dare to speak to him in such a manner. He was so angry that the corners of his eyes twitched, and his eyes flashed with killing intent. 300 million points. Is there anyone who wants to increase the price? Bai Mei glanced at the sword puppet in surprise. She pursed her lips into a smile and softly asked. Because the entire auction site was enveloped by a powerful restriction, Bai Mei wasn't afraid of any accidents. In addition, the sword puppet had just won 3 consecutive auctions, so she didn't suspect anything. Wait, I need to borrow some points. A supreme grade Dao skill was simply too precious, and Qian Guqiu felt like he would regret it for the rest of his life if he missed it. He of course, Bai Mei said seductively. As the leader of the top 10 powerhouses in the star field, Qian Guqiu had many followers and friends. He relied on his connections to borrow more than 200 million points. Coupled with the 250 million points he now had close to 500 million points. 310 million points. After borrowing enough points, Qian Guqiu's eyes flashed with a hint of viciousness as he continued to raise the price. 400 million points. The sword puppet was unaffected and continued to raise the price crazily. The moment the bid of 400 million was called, everyone was shocked. This price had already broken the record of all auctions. Even Bai Mei felt that something was wrong. She secretly ordered people to increase the restriction, making the auction hall impregnable. 480 million points. Qian Guqiu's forehead was covered in sweat as he looked at the calm sword puppet. He felt an inexplicable sense of uneasiness as he called out the highest price he could bear. Even if he won the 2 extreme paths of life and death at this price, it would definitely hurt him and affect his future cultivation. 600 million points. The sword puppet revealed a proud smile as it continued to raise the price after Qian Guqiu's bid. Impossible, you can't possibly have so many points. Qian Guqiu was dumbfounded when he heard the sword puppet's bid. Then, he stood up in anger and questioned. Qian Guqiu wasn't the only one who was doubtful. Almost everyone present was doubtful. After all, 600 million points was not a small number. In the long river of time, no one had accumulated so many points. If someone dares to sell a supreme-grade Dao skill, why can't I prepare in advance to accumulate points? The black-robed sword puppet said coldly. You, Qiangu Qiu was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. He had already sentenced the sword puppet to death in his heart. He did not expect this to happen, and he would not allow the two extreme paths of life and death to escape from his hands. 600 million points. Is there anyone who wants to increase the price? Bai Mei looked at the sword puppet and pondered for a moment before asking. 600 million points was beyond what Qiangu Qiu could accept. He snorted and gave up in the end. Since no one wants to increase the price, I announce that the supreme grade Dao skill, Two Extreme Paths of Life and Death, is won by this friend. Bai Mei waited for a while, and when she saw that no one wanted to increase the price, she finally announced. Here are 600 million points. Give me the tortoise shell of the Two Extreme Paths of Life and Death. The sword spirit puppet slowly stood up. Holding a stack of scorecards, it slowly walked towards Bai Mei under the gazes of many surprised, doubtful, and dumbfounded gazes. Sir, this supreme grade Dao skill is no small matter. We must first check if you have 600 million points before we can give you the Two Extreme Paths of Life and Death. Bai Mei looked at the sword puppet and smiled. She put away the tortoise shell into her yin-yang ring and said softly, Of course. The sword spirit puppet said cooperatively and handed the points card to Bai Mei. However, the moment Bai Mei took the card, a powerful energy exploded from the sword puppet's body. It reached out its right hand that was burning with energy and grabbed the yin-yang ring on Bai Mei's finger. Although Bai Mei was prepared, the sword puppet, which had fused with 10 low-grade heaven crystals and was a Class 6 combat beast emperor, was too fast. It directly grabbed the yin-yang ring on her finger and snatched it away. I knew there was something wrong with you. The moment the sword puppet snatched the yin-yang ring, Qiangu Qiu, whose soul had been locked onto the sword puppet, went berserk. A low-grade Dao weapon engraved with tens of thousands of offensive runes appeared in his hand and slashed at the sword puppet. The sword puppet did not dodge Qiangu Qiu's fatal attack. It allowed the sharp Dao sword to pierce its body, causing sparks to fly. What? Qiangu Qiu felt as if he had stabbed a piece of black iron. His expression changed, as if he had seen a ghost. In the next moment, the sword puppet transformed into a sword and slashed at the void. A sword ray that could steal the heavens and earth slashed at Qiangu Qiu, whose expression changed drastically. The terrifying attack made him feel a strong sense of death, and he instinctively dodged. The sword puppet did not chase after Qiangu Qiu. Its body flashed, and it quickly flew out of the auction hall. At this time, more than 10 experts from Xingluo Heaven City, who were guarding the auction hall, appeared and attacked the sword puppet together. Boom, boom, boom. A series of explosions sounded, and the sword puppet was engulfed by powerful Dao skills. However, when the destructive Dao skills that distorted the void gradually dissipated, the sword puppet disappeared mysteriously, as if it had evaporated into thin air. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to read it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 903. Where is he? Where did he go? Looking at the strange disappearance of the sword spirit puppet, everyone present was dumbfounded. Watermark advertisement test waves of powerful soul energy covered the entire auction hall as they searched for the sword puppet. However, no matter how hard they searched, they couldn't sense the existence of a universe realm cultivator. 5th Protector, 6th Protector, 7th Protector, were the restrictions attacked just now? Bai Mei asked with a gloomy expression. She couldn't absolve herself from the blame of having her supreme-grade Dao skill stolen in front of everyone. If she couldn't capture the sword puppet, Sha Bingyun would definitely not let her go. She would no longer have a foothold in Xingluo Sky City. No, the restriction wasn't attacked. That person is definitely still in the auction hall. It's very likely that he changed his appearance and hid among the crowd to sneak out. An old man in a cloud-patterned robe with snow-white hair and brows said in a low voice. He held a long spear in his hand, and his eyes flashed with sharpness as he looked at the crowd. "I'm sorry, everyone. In order to capture that audacious person and take back the supreme-grade Dao skill, we have to conduct a thorough investigation before you can leave." Bai Mei's eyes twitched violently as she scanned the crowd with a terrifying light in her eyes. "I'll help you." Qiangu Qiu's pupils constricted as he tried to protect himself. Pajun, Rentu, and the rest of the top 10 powerhouses of the star field also volunteered to join the search for the sword puppet. After all, if news of this spread, the top 10 powerhouses of the star field would definitely lose face. Not to mention, supreme-grade Dao skills were a fatal temptation to them. "Then I'll have to trouble you all." Bai Mei didn't doubt Qiangu Qiu, Pajun, and the others. "Let's start with you." Qiangu Qiu pointed at a combat beast emperor in a blue robe with a thick black beard. He personally interrogated him. As he looked at the numerous Emperor Realm experts that were being carefully examined, Yi Chunfeng, who'd almost cultivated the illusory Dao insight to the 8th level, wasn't worried. Even if a mishap really occurred, he who possessed the universe realm wasn't afraid of being besieged. As time passed, one by one, the Emperor Realm Masters left the auction hall without any problems. Gradually, the number of cultivators in the auction hall dwindled, while Bai Mei, Chang Guqiu, and the others' expressions grew increasingly gloomy. The tense atmosphere made it hard for the remaining martial artists to breathe. During this period, Yi Chunfeng successfully passed Bai Mei's interrogation and successfully left the auction hall. After returning to the rented inn, he set up an isolation barrier in the room and entered the universe realm. "Sword puppet, give me the supreme-grade Dao skill, Dao artifact fragment, and true spirit fruit." Yi Chunfeng couldn't wait to see the cultivation chant of the extreme life and death Dao. After obtaining the rewards from the auction, Yi Chunfeng tossed the 2 supreme-grade Dao artifact fragments into the vermilion bird cauldron, awakening the vermilion bird's soul and refining the Dao artifact fragments to increase the vermilion bird cauldron's strength. Then, Yi Chunfeng took out the only tortoiseshell in his universe ring. He controlled the God-Eater brain to forcefully break open the restrictions on the tortoiseshell's surface. He released his soul energy into the tortoiseshell and comprehended the cultivation chant of the extreme life and death Dao. Buzz buzz buzz. The moment Yi Chunfeng's soul energy entered the tortoiseshell began to tremble. Black runes emerged from the tortoiseshell and broke into Yi Chunfeng's soul sea at a speed undetectable to the naked eye. Indeed, the true demon race left a hidden trick in this tortoiseshell. Suddenly attacked by the black runes from the tortoiseshell, Yi Chunfeng didn't panic. Before the black runes could corrode his soul, the God-Eater brain appeared and released a powerful devouring force. It swallowed the black runes one by one. After breaking through the true demon race's hidden trick, the God-Eater brain's soul energy immediately entered the tortoiseshell and quickly browsed through the cultivation chant of the supreme-grade extreme life and death Dao. This supreme-grade Dao skill is incomplete. Yi Chunfeng's brows were tightly knitted together. He realized that the cultivation chant of the extreme life and death Dao was incomplete. Many important contents were missing. This true demon race is really scheming. They used the incomplete supreme-grade Dao skill as bait to try and control the most outstanding genius in the star field. Even if they failed to control him, it wouldn't be a loss to them. This cultivation chant is seriously incomplete, and it's almost impossible to cultivate the extreme life and death Dao, Yi Chunfeng muttered to himself with furrowed brows. However, Yi Chunfeng didn't give up. The God-Eater brain had undergone 4 transformations, and its ability to deduce had reached a terrifying level. He eliminated all distracting thoughts and controlled the God-Eater brain to deduce the incomplete cultivation chant. He tried to complete it and forcibly cultivate it. At the same time, the entire Xingluo heavenly city experienced another shocking change. This time, even the old city lord, Sha Tianya, was alarmed. "You're saying that person suddenly snatched the tortoiseshell with the cultivation chant of the extreme life and death Tao and disappeared right under your nose?" Sha Tianya questioned in a low voice. "Yes, that person is very strange." The pale and trembling Bai Mei knelt on the ground and said in fear, "At first, we thought that he had changed his appearance and was hiding in the crowd. However, we carefully checked everyone and couldn't find him. He just disappeared like that." "Father, do you think that the person who stole the supreme grade Tao skill is the person who left his name on the 9-layer jade wall of Xingluo Heavenly City? Back then, when I was chasing after him, he also mysteriously disappeared." Sha Bingyun, who was sitting at the side, said thoughtfully. "He dares to cause trouble in Xingluo Heavenly City in front of so many people and humiliate us. It seems that he is the only person who dares to do so." Sha Tianya took a deep breath and said in a low voice, "Father, who do you think that person is? Could he be sent by Bai Jiang or the Green Jade Palace?" Sha Bingyun's brows were tightly knitted together as she asked. "No, such a peerless genius definitely doesn't come from the 3 great forces." Sha Tianya shook his head and said. "Then where could he have come from?" Sha Bingyun pondered. "He couldn't have come from the Central World, could he?" "That person could have come from the Central World. However, it's more likely that he comes from the Xia family." Sha Tianya took a deep breath and guessed as he thought about how Yi Chunfeng was suspected to have received the approval of Star Emperor. "The Xia family, they've come out into the world." Sha Bingyun raised her brows and exclaimed in shock. "It's not that the Xia family has come out into the world. It's just that they've hidden themselves very well. We've never been able to track them down. It's very likely that one of the 10 great cultivators is from the Xia family," Sha Tianya said solemnly. "Father, who do you suspect of being from the Xia family?" Sha Bingyun asked with a vicious look in her eyes. "This is only my guess and I'm not completely sure. Furthermore, before we have any evidence, we cannot touch the 10 great cultivators of the star field. Otherwise, it will cause great chaos. However, the star field ranking competition in 5 months' time is an opportunity. You must observe carefully. Perhaps you'll be able to find some clues," Sha Tianya said slowly. "Yes, father. I know what to do." Sha Bingyun nodded her head and said. Just as Sha Tianya and his daughter were about to use the star field ranking competition as a catalyst to further purge Xingluo Sky City, the God-Eater brain, which possessed heaven-defying powers, finally completed the missing content of the Tao of 2 extremes of life and death after 2 months of continuous deduction. After completing the cultivation chant of the Tao of 2 extremes of life and death, Yi Chunfeng immediately cleared his mind of distracting thoughts and calmed his heart to cultivate. As he cultivated, another month passed. Mobile reading website, book address. To facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 904. Life and Death Dual Tao. Yi Chunfeng derived the life and death Tao intent to the extreme and evolved the 8 layers of life and death Tao patterns, which formed a life and death Tao disc. With the power of the extreme Tao, it crushed all living beings like the ultimate destruction of heaven and earth as it blasted towards the distance. Boom! The hard ground of the universe realm was struck by Yi Chunfeng's life and death dual Tao attack. Instantly, a huge pit that was dozens of meters deep appeared. The powerful force shook the ground in a radius of a few miles. Crisscrossing cracks constantly spread in all directions. This life and death dual Tao is indeed a supreme grade Tao skill. Its power is indeed terrifying. If I use this move, I should be able to kill a Class 5 combat beast emperor expert. Yi Chunfeng was very satisfied with the power of the life and death dual Tao. After mastering this move, his foundation was even stronger. After successfully cultivating the life and death dual Tao, Yi Chunfeng summoned the Vermilion Bird Cauldron. After 3.5 months of refinement, the Vermilion Bird Cauldron had completely refined the 2 Tao treasure fragments into the cauldron, which greatly increased the power of the Vermilion Bird Cauldron. It was almost at the level of the Gu Dao treasure. Sensing that the Vermilion Bird Cauldron was about to transform into the Gu Dao treasure, Yi Chunfeng unreservedly summoned the Quasi-Dao treasure's Scarlet Thunder Bead, Cold Water Bead, and Black Devil Scissors and threw them all into the Vermilion Bird Cauldron. He controlled the Vermilion Bird Cauldron to refine them. Under the full power of the Vermilion Bird Cauldron, the 3 Quasi-Dao treasures exploded one after another and turned into pure energy liquid. They fused into the Vermilion Bird Cauldron bit by bit, further increasing the power and quality of the Vermilion Bird Cauldron. Screech, screech, screech. After about 5 days, the Vermilion Bird Cauldron resonated with ear-piercing bird cries. The soul of the Vermilion Bird, which was constantly transforming, appeared above the Vermilion Bird Cauldron and spread its wings to fly high. The Vermilion Bird Cauldron has finally evolved into the Gu Dao treasure. Sensing the change in the soul of the Vermilion Bird, Yi Chunfeng opened his closed eyes and revealed a faint smile. The Vermilion Bird Cauldron transformed into an even more powerful Gu Dao treasure. Yi Chunfeng immediately took out the main ingredients for the true spirit body quenching pellet and threw them all into the cauldron. He then spat out the death flame heavenly fire and controlled the Vermilion Bird Cauldron to refine it. With the evolution of the Vermilion Bird Cauldron, its refining ability had been greatly enhanced. In less than 6 hours, 3 fiery red true spirit body tempering pills were formed. Each of them had 7 patterns on the surface of the pill, and they contained a scorching energy. Success! After refining the 3 true spirit-quenching pellets, Yi Chunfeng took out one of them without hesitation and swallowed it directly. He then activated the God Change of 9 transformations and refined the true spirit-quenching pellet's hot medicinal power into the Yongquan acupoint on the soles of his feet, accelerating the transformation of the spirit orb in the Yongquan acupoint. As the number 1 body refinement inheritance of the Shun clan, the God Change of 9 transformations was extremely difficult to cultivate. Yi Chunfeng had refined a true spirit body quenching pellet and used the scorching medicinal power to refine his body for more than 16 hours. However, the spirit pearl in his Yongquan acupoint had only transformed by half. Then, Yi Chunfeng swallowed the second true spirit body quenching pellet and activated the God Change of 9 transformations to refine the pellet. No matter what kind of pellet it was, the first pellet would have the best effect. Therefore, when Yi Chunfeng activated the God Change of 9 transformations and refined the second true spirit body quenching pellet, his body developed some resistance to the pellet. This greatly affected the medicinal power of the second true spirit body quenching pellet, causing the spirit orb in his Yongquan acupoint to not transform completely. Fortunately, Yi Chunfeng had refined 3 true spirit body quenching pellet. He endured the excruciating pain in his body and controlled the flame of life to refine his body, weakening the resistance of his body to the greatest extent. Then, he swallowed the last true spirit body quenching pellet and focused on refining it. Days passed by. When Yi Chunfeng had completely refined the medicinal power of the third true spirit body quenching pellet into his Yongquan acupoint, the spirit orb in his Yongquan acupoint finally transformed into a true spirit orb. Phew, I've finally cultivated my true spirit body to the second level. Yi Chunfeng let out a long sigh of relief and woke up from his cultivation. After cultivating the second level of the true spirit body, Yi Chunfeng's physical defense had increased once again. It was comparable to the toughest low-grade Tao artifact. His physical strength had also increased from 20 million Jin to 25 million Jin. In addition to the amplification of his realm and his divine demon bloodline, Yi Chunfeng's physical strength had broken through 100 million Jin and reached a shocking 120 million Jin. Just by relying on his physical strength, Yi Chunfeng felt that he could fight against an ordinary level 6 combat beast emperor. It's been 4 months. There's still 1 more month before the Star Field ranking tournament. When the Star Field ranking tournament begins, there should be no one using the cultivation resources in the Star Field. Yi Chunfeng had no interest in the Star Field ranking tournament that was held once every 5 years. He also didn't want to be in the limelight. He was prepared to enter the path of lightning calamity during the Star Field ranking tournament. He would enter the 9 heavenly steps and the lightning heavenly pavilion to further temper himself and deepen his understanding of the Tao. Now it should be peaceful outside. If Yi Chunfeng wanted to enter the path of lightning calamity and cultivate in the 9 heavenly steps, his first task was to complete 100 consecutive victories and become a Diamond Star expert. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to use the 3 highest level cultivation resources in the Star Field. After a simple consolidation, Yi Chunfeng left the Universe Realm and revealed his half-step combat beast emperor realm before heading to the arena. In the Star Field, there were many Diamond Star experts who had completed 100 consecutive victories. Most of them were cultivating in the Lightning Heavenly Pavilion. Therefore, the arena wasn't as lively as the 3rd Lightning Domain. Yi Chunfeng waited in the arena for nearly 6 hours before he met an opponent who was willing to fight with him. His opponent was a red-clothed woman with a voluptuous figure, fiery red lips, and wavy long hair. Her strength was at the peak of level 1 combat beast emperor realm. You've finally appeared. Region Lord Luo has been looking for you for a long time. We thought you were so scared that you left Xingluo Heaven City. The red-clothed woman stuck out her smooth tongue and licked her sexy lip. She looked at Yi Chunfeng as if she was looking at a prey and said in a cold voice, "You're Luo Ho's man." Yi Chunfeng frowned slightly. He didn't expect that his first battle in the Star Field would be against Luo Ho's woman. "You don't look like a fool. Why would you do such a stupid thing like rejecting the Region Lord?" The red-clothed woman said without a trace of emotion. "In this place, offending Region Lord Luo is equivalent to offending the Grim Reaper. No one can save you." "Grim Reaper?" Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up slightly. He said disdainfully, "Is he worthy?" While speaking, Yi Chunfeng looked at the private room on the west side of the stands. His powerful soul felt that a level 3 combat beast emperor expert was watching him from the private room. This person seemed to be Luo Ho. "You're courting death." Hearing Yi Chunfeng insulting Luo Ho in front of everyone, the red-clothed woman was furious. A sharp sword light shone from her arm and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng at an astonishing speed. "Even Dao Kuei wasn't my opponent. Do you think you can defeat me?" Yi Chunfeng's body flashed slightly, dodging the red-clothed woman's attack, and said disdainfully, "Dao Kuei underestimated me. I will never make such a low-level mistake." The red-clothed woman didn't believe that Yi Chunfeng was so heaven-defying that he could defeat someone who was several levels higher than him. She used all her skills and even used all her trump cards to suppress Yi Chunfeng's attack. Seeing Yi Chunfeng's attack being suppressed by the red-clothed woman, Yi Chunfeng suddenly released his powerful soul. It formed a terrifying dizziness force and fiercely blasted into the red-clothed woman's soul sea. 1. The red-clothed woman felt as if her head was being pricked by needles. Her soul trembled and she felt a severe dizziness. Her ferocious attack was forcibly interrupted. "Lose!" Yi Chunfeng roared. He completely unleashed his 25 million Jin of strength and gathered it in his right fist. He punched towards the red-clothed woman's soft chest. Purring, Yi Chunfeng's powerful punch shattered her body's defense and sent her flying. She sprayed out a cloud of blood in midair, and flew hundreds of meters away. She fell out of the arena and lost the match. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 905. Luoho, do you want to come up and play? After defeating the lady in red with a single punch, Yi Chunfeng cast his gaze towards the box on the west side. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly as he sneered. Challenge me? Luoho, who was in the box, frowned slightly and revealed a look of disbelief. He thought he had heard wrongly. However, the entire martial arena was in an uproar. Numerous dumbstruck gazes shot towards the calm and arrogant Yi Chunfeng. They couldn't understand why he was so daring and dared to challenge the Eastern Region Lord, Luoho. Arrogant, He Yen is too arrogant. He dares to challenge the territorial lord. This is not arrogance, this is stupidity. I think there is something wrong with He Yan's brain. He thinks the territorial lord is a pushover and can be bullied by anyone. Yes, territorial lord Luo is the strongest among the 4 territorial lords. His overall strength is comparable to the top 10 experts in the Star region. This is the first time I have seen someone who dares to challenge them. This is going to be a good show. I wonder if He Yen will be beaten to death by territorial lord Luo. The audience, who had regained their senses, burst into an uproar. They looked at Yi Chunfeng as though he was a fool. There was a lot of discussion, and almost no one was optimistic about him. You want to challenge me? Luoho, who was dressed in gorgeous clothes and had a tall and sturdy figure, with long black hair casually draped over his shoulders, walked out of the box. His deep eyes hid a dense killing intent as he asked in a low voice. That's right. Do you dare to accept my challenge? Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up slightly as he faced Luoho's murderous gaze and provoked him. Since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. Luoho revealed a cruel smile, and was about to kill Yi Chunfeng to establish his authority. Territorial Lord Luo, let me deal with this small fry for you. Suddenly, an overbearing voice rang out in the noisy arena. Overlord Jian, who had a tall and sturdy figure and carried a huge sword on his back, appeared with a strong oppressive aura. Overlord Jian, ranked 8th among the top 10 expert. Why is he here? Don't you know that Overlord Sword and Territory Lord Luo have a very good relationship? Territory Lord Luo has provided Overlord Sword with a lot of cultivation resources for him to become one of the top 10 experts in the star domain. That He Yen is going to be in big trouble. He will most likely pay with his life for today's stupid challenge. I hope that in the next life, he will be able to clean his eyes and be a good person. Many people pitied Yi Chunfeng when they saw Overlord Sword's aura rise like a tsunami and the domineering aura between his brows. Alright, then I'll leave him to you. End this quickly and kill him. Luoho revealed a sinister smile as he glanced at the calm and composed Yi Chunfeng. Then, he said savagely, "Don't worry, I can kill this kind of idiot in one move." Overlord Sword looked at Yi Chunfeng with disdain. In his eyes, Yi Chunfeng, who was a half-step combat beast emperor, was no different from Dead Man Wui. With a slight leap, he appeared on the stage. Overlord Sword. Feeling Overlord Sword's mountain-like aura, Yi Chunfeng was neither happy nor sad. He did not reveal a trace of panic. He was prepared to use absolute strength to deal with this loser. Brat, I will let you know one thing today. There are some people you can't afford to offend. Overlord Sword held his hands behind his back and spoke in a lecturing tone like an expert. Are you done? Yi Chunfeng said with a cold and arrogant expression, I'm here to compete, not to chat. If you're done, then let's start the competition. As he spoke, Yi Chunfeng took out the 150,000 gene mid-grade Dao artifact halberd that he obtained from killing the ancient undead spirit. He raised it high and pointed it at the ashen-faced Overlord sword. "You're courting death." Although Overlord's sword was a little surprised that Yi Chunfeng actually had a treasure like the Sky Piercer, Yi Chunfeng's action of pointing the halberd at him infuriated him. He roared and pulled out the heavy sword from the scabbard on his back. With a mountain-splitting momentum, he slashed at Yi Chunfeng. 40 million Jin of strength explode. With a thought, Yi Chunfeng's energy burst out from the 5 energy pearls in his 5 acupoints. Holding the heavenly halberd that weighed 300,000 kilograms, he pushed forward with an indomitable momentum and heavily clashed against the heavy sword that was slashing down at him. Boom! When the two treasures collided, a deafening explosion immediately rang out. The powerful impact caused the space to distort in an instant, causing the entire arena to vibrate slightly. What great strength! Overlord's sword was confident in his own strength. There weren't many powerhouses in the star field who were stronger than him. However, when he faced Yi Chunfeng's Sky Piercer head-on, he felt as if he was facing a butcher. His hand hurt. After breaking Overlord's sword's attack with a single halberd, Yi Chunfeng continued to erupt with powerful strength. He swung the Sky Piercer and fiercely attacked. The 40 million Jin halberd shadows caused Overlord's sword's expression to subtly change. However, as the 8th-ranked powerhouse in the star field, Overlord's sword knew that he couldn't retreat. He took a deep breath and erupted with his strongest strength to meet the attack. However, the two of them fought for half an incense stick's worth of time. Overlord's sword gradually couldn't resist Yi Chunfeng's ferocious attacks and was forced to retreat. His retreat caused the audience in the stands to cry out in surprise. They didn't dare to imagine that Yi Chunfeng, who was a half-step combat beast emperor, could actually suppress Overlord's sword. It seems like He Yan isn't a hothead. He dares to challenge Protector Luo because he has something to rely on. He Yan's strength is indeed not bad. However, Overlord's sword's most terrifying aspect is his Dao intent attack. I reckon that He Yan will be defeated by the time he uses his Dao intent. Many people were disappointed by Yi Chunfeng's strength, but even more people were optimistic about Overlord's sword, who was ranked 8th in the star field. Sword Dao intent. The ashen-faced Overlord's sword took a deep breath and stabilized his out-of-control body. The 70-layered sword Dao intent gushed out from his strong body and crazily fused into the ancient rune heavy sword. In his rage, Overlord's sword was prepared to use a powerful Dao technique. He wanted to kill Yi Chunfeng in one fell swoop and regain his face. Stun art. Yi Chunfeng's attack speed was even faster. He used shape-shifting phantom and instantly appeared in front of Overlord's sword. The soul power in his mind exploded, forming a terrifying stun art. It blasted into Overlord's sword's sea of soul, causing his soul to tremble and a severe dizziness to appear in his mind. Seizing the opportunity of Overlord's sword's stun art, Yi Chunfeng held his halberd and charged forward, thrusting it towards Overlord's sword's chest. Not good. At the critical moment, Overlord's sword, who had a powerful soul, regained his consciousness. He placed the ancient rune-heavy sword in front of him to block the attack from the halberd. Boom! The Fangtian halberd heavily stabbed into the ancient Mark greatsword. 40 million Jin of force instantly erupted, and together with the greatsword, it smashed into Overlord Jian's chest. PFFF. A large amount of blood spurted out from Overlord's sword's mouth. After being hit by the stun art, Overlord's sword, who had a slow reaction, was injured by Yi Chunfeng's halberd. A large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. I'll take your life. Overlord's sword ignored the injuries on his body and roared in anger out of humiliation. He pushed his sword Dao intent and blood Dao intent to the extreme, wanting to launch a desperate counterattack. However, Yi Chunfeng's stun art was impossible to guard against. It forcibly interrupted his Dao skill, causing his mind to go blank again. He continued to attack with the halberd. Boom! Yi Chunfeng's brandishing halberd smashed into Overlord's sword's chest. The powerful force directly broke through his body's defense and sent him flying out of the arena, losing this battle. Luo Ho, it's your turn. Come up and play. Yi Chunfeng stabbed the 150,000-kilogram halberd into the ground. Then, he used his index finger to beckon the gloomy Luo Ho. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button below to record this reading. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 906. Kid, I'll kill you. After being thrown out of the arena, the humiliated overlord's sword climbed up from the ground and roared like an enraged lion. Watermark advertisement test. Although he had lost the match, he had only used 30% of his strength. He hadn't even used his Dao techniques or Dao insight. He felt that he had lost because of his carelessness and definitely not because he was inferior to Yi Chunfeng. Overlord Sword, you have already lost. How can you still have the face to shout about killing? Are you challenging the rules of Xingluo Sky City? Yi Chunfeng said indifferently as he looked at the enraged Overlord's sword with his hands behind his back. Overlord Sword, according to the arena's rules, you really can't fight today. If you want revenge, you can only challenge again tomorrow. At this moment, the white-haired old man in charge of the arena's order appeared beside the arena. He looked at Overlord's sword with blood flowing from the corner of his mouth, his face flushed red, and his body filled with killing intent. Overlord's sword, leave him to me. Luo Ho looked at the arrogant and overbearing Yi Chunfeng who dared to challenge him. His eyes flashed with killing intent as he spoke in a low voice. Territory Lord Luo, you must kill him. Overlord's sword had never suffered such humiliation before. He endured the anger in his heart and spoke with gritted teeth. Don't worry. He definitely won't live to see tomorrow's sun. As he spoke, Luo Ho stepped on the void and walked over from the western block. With every step he took, his aura grew stronger, causing many cultivators near him to feel suffocated. In terms of aura, Luo Ho was much stronger than Overlord's sword. Luo Ho walked onto the arena and looked at Yi Chunfeng with a ferocious gaze as he spoke with killing intent. Hey Yen, today I will let you know the consequences of challenging me. Luo Ho, you and that trash are indeed jackals of the same lair. Both of you are full of nonsense. Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up slightly as he mocked coldly. If you want to fight, let's fight. I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. Since you are in a hurry to die, I will fulfill your wish. A murderous intent flashed in Luo Ho's eyes. A low-grade Dao artifact-rank spear stained with mysterious blood appeared in his hand. With an ear-piercing sound, the spear pierced towards Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng's pupils shrank as he locked onto Luo Ho's shocking spear. He swung the sky piercer, which weighed 150,000 pounds, to meet it head-on. Boom! The halberd, which was filled with a force of 150,000 genes, smashed the spear light apart like a hot knife through butter. The halberd bent the incomparably hard body of the spear, and the powerful force caused Luo Ho's arm to go numb. Middle-grade Dao artifact, you actually have such a treasure. Feeling the might of the sky piercer, Luo Ho revealed a trace of surprise. In the entire Xingluo Sky City, after hundreds of thousands of years of inheritance, there was only one middle-grade Dao artifact, and it was in the hands of Sha Tianya. Now, a mere half-step Emperor-level expert Yi Chunfeng had one. This made Luo Ho's murderous intent even stronger. He wanted to kill Yi Chunfeng and snatch the sky piercer away. While Luo Ho was bewildered, Yi Chunfeng smashed the sky piercer over. The powerful force caused Luo Ho to immediately counter with his spear. Stun Art. When the two great Dao artifacts collided, Yi Chunfeng's soul erupted, forming a powerful stun art that attacked Luo Ho's soul. However, when the stun art, which was like a heavy hammer, smashed into Luo Ho's soul, it was blocked by a powerful force, greatly weakening the stun art's might. Hei Yin, I have already seen through your trump card. Obediently accept your death. Suppressing the dizziness in his soul, Luo Ho quickly stabbed out with his spear. The terrifying spear light was like a flood dragon emerging from the sea. It was extremely powerful and pierced towards Yi Chenfeng's chest. Golden Rock Bloodline Ignite. At the critical moment, Yi Chenfeng ignited his Golden Rock Bloodline. A lifelike phantom of a huge golden bird appeared on his body. It spread its wings and flew high, letting out a long screech. Whoosh! A golden light flashed through the void. Yi Chenfeng, who had ignited his Golden Rock Bloodline, dodged Luo Ho's spear light. Golden Rock, this Hei Yin actually has such a terrifying spiritual beast. Seeing the huge golden bird that appeared on Yi Chenfeng's body, the spectators in the stands mistakenly thought that the Golden Rock was his spiritual beast. Yi Chenfeng had done this intentionally, as his spiritual beast, the Blood Dragon Emperor, had been exposed. Now, he was using the Golden Rock Bloodline to disguise himself as his spiritual beast to confuse Sha Bingyun, Overlord Sword, and the others. Soul Defense Treasure. Feeling the illusion in Luo Ho's soul, Yi Chenfeng revealed a surprised expression. Soul defense treasures were extremely difficult to refine and were rarely seen. Its value was comparable to an ordinary low-grade Dao artifact. Hei Yin, this match can end early. In Luo Ho's opinion, Yi Chenfeng had repeatedly defeated stronger opponents by relying on the stun art. Now that Luo Ho's trump card was completely countered by him, there was nothing to be afraid of. Not necessarily. Looking at Luo Ho, who was thrusting his scarlet blood spear at him rapidly, Yi Chenfeng did not dodge. He held the Sky Piercer halberd and used his full strength to counter the attack. Relying on his 40 million gene of strength, he constantly shattered the ferocious scarlet blood spear light. Thunder Dao Intent. Luo Ho's attacks were continuously countered by Yi Chenfeng's absolute strength. He lost his patience and executed the sixfold Thunder Dao Intent. His entire body turned into streaks of lightning and blasted towards Yi Chenfeng. Facing Luo Ho's lightning-fast attack, Yi Chenfeng's soul erupted and locked onto Luo Ho's attack trajectory. He used his strength to break through the Dao Intent and met the attack with full strength. Stun Art. When Yi Chenfeng relied on his absolute strength to counter Luo Ho's attacks, the soul power he released once again formed a powerful stun power and blasted into Luo Ho's soul sea. Although Luo Ho had a defensive treasure in his soul, Yi Chenfeng's soul was too powerful. The stun power still penetrated the defensive treasure and affected him to a certain extent. A subtle sense of dizziness appeared in his soul, and his attack speed was slightly slower. Seizing this fleeting opportunity, Yi Chenfeng poured 10 Heaven Dao patterns into the Sky Piercer halberd, which imperceptibly increased the power of the Sky Piercer halberd. He quickly swung the halberd, driving the momentum of heaven and earth and pressing forward with indomitable will. Looking at the Sky Piercer halberd that was constantly slashing down, Luo Ho's expression changed slightly. He decisively changed his move and used his scarlet blood spear to block with all his strength. But Yi Chenfeng unleashed his full strength and swung the Sky Piercer halberd that weighed 150,000 gene. The destructive power was too terrifying. In addition to the amplification of the Heaven Dao patterns, after a round of fierce attacks, Luo Ho felt that his arm had almost lost all feeling. All the blood in his body violently surged. Break! Yi Chenfeng roared. The Sky Piercer halberd tore through the violent air and pierced towards Luo Ho's chest with an unstoppable force, forcing him to instinctively defend himself. Boom! When the Sky Piercer halberd collided with the scarlet blood spear in front of Luo Ho's chest, a shocking force erupted and bombarded his body violently. It forcefully shattered his body's defense and forced him to retreat step by step. A mouthful of blood spurted out from his mouth. What? Dominator Luo is injured? Heavens, is this Hei Yin really so monstrous? With the strength of a half-step combat beast emperor, he injured Dominator Luo. Could it be that he has the strength to become one of the top 10 experts in the star field? The spectators on the spectators stand witnessed the scene of Yi Chunfeng and Luo Ho fighting head-on and injuring Luo Ho. They all looked as if they had seen a ghost. It could be said that everything that happened in front of them was beyond their imagination. It made them feel unreal. Luo Ho, use whatever means you have. Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't have a chance. Yi Chunfeng looked at Luo Ho, who was retreating with blood flowing out from the corner of his mouth, and continued to attack him with the Sky Piercer halberd. Beast Soul Form. The furious Luo Ho ignited his powerful bloodline power and transformed into his strongest beast soul form, greatly increasing his strength. Hey Yen, I'll definitely kill you today. With his strength skyrocketing, Luo Ho roared and unleashed a terrifying killing move towards Yi Chunfeng. He wanted to kill Yi Chunfeng to vent the hatred in his heart. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 907. Extreme Lightning Spear Radiance. Luo Ho unleashed the Tao of Lightning to the extreme. He turned into a zigzagging lightning bolt and launched a thunderous attack at Yi Chunfeng. Watermark Advertisement Test. Watermark Advertisement Test. Dual Polarity Ancient Heavenly Water, Ice Seal. Luo Ho attacked like lightning. The dual polarity ancient heavenly water suddenly shot out from Yi Chunfeng's body. It released an extreme chill and attacked Luo Ho's legs. Kacha Kacha. Under the dual polarity ancient heavenly water's ice seal, Luo Ho's legs were instantly covered in ice, which greatly affected his speed. Stun Art. When Luo Ho released his powerful soul power and forcefully shattered the dual polarity ancient heavenly water's ice seal, Yi Chunfeng used the stun art again. It formed a hammer-like stun force that blasted into Luo Ho's soul sea, causing him to feel slightly dizzy. Pattern of Heavenly Tao Fuse. 20 Heavenly Tao patterns fused into the Heavenly Halberd. Yi Chunfeng's arms exploded with shocking strength. He swung the Heavenly Halberd down fiercely and wanted to split Luo Ho's body in half. Under this attack, a large number of cracks appeared in the chaotic void. Tortoise Shield. At the critical moment, Luo Ho opened his mouth. A heavenly treasure refined from a tortoise shell flew out. It kept expanding and blocked the Heavenly Halberd's attack. Boom! The Heavenly Halberd that was filled with 20 Heavenly Tao patterns slashed down fiercely. The terrifying strength and Heavenly Tao power erupted at the same time. The halberd shattered the heavenly treasure tortoise shield and forced Luo Ho to dodge pathetically. Ferocious. This He Yan's attack is too ferocious. I feel that in terms of physical strength, only Rin 2 in the entire stellar domain can beat him. He does have a chance to defeat Dominator Luo. Defeat Dominator Luo? Xing Luo Sky City's authority is inviolable. If Dominator Luo loses, do you think Xing Luo Sky City will let him go? He Yan has already fallen into a dead end. Now, he is just fighting like a trapped beast. That's right, Brother Lu is right. This He Yan is openly challenging the authority of Xing Luo Sky City, which is equivalent to slapping Xing Luo Sky City's face. In these troubled times, Xing Luo Sky City will definitely suppress him in the most tyrannical manner to warn everyone. While Yi Chunfeng and Luo Ho were fighting fiercely, the spectators in the stands expressed their opinions and discussed animatedly. Hey Yan, I didn't expect you to have so many trump cards. It seems that I will gain quite a lot from killing you. Luo Ho realized that Yi Chunfeng was far more difficult to deal with than he had imagined. Not only did he possess a secret divine ability that could directly attack one's soul, he had also subdued a type of terrifying heavenly water. Luo Ho, I realize that you speak more nonsense than Overlord Sword. Don't tell me you two are brothers. Yi Chunfeng said with a sneer. Damn it! After hearing Yi Chunfeng's ridicule, Overlord Sword, who had lost the battle and suffered a great humiliation, felt like his lungs were about to explode. The flames that shot out from his eyes seemed to want to melt Yi Chunfeng. Pseudo-Dao artifact, starlight chain. Luo Ho was so angry that his entire body was trembling. A chain glittering with starlight flew out from his body like a silver dragon and coiled towards Yi Chunfeng. "Is this your trump card? You are too shabby." As the starlight chain attacked, Yi Chunfeng continued to inject heavenly Dao patterns into the square sky halberd. He wielded the halberd and slashed fiercely. The heavenly Dao's might and 40 million gene of force complemented each other and bombarded the starlight chain, preventing it from getting close to him. 6 styles of Thunder Star. The starlight chain was restrained by Yi Chunfeng. Luo Ho unleashed the Thunder Dao intent and Star Dao intent that he comprehended to the extreme. He executed the powerful Dao skill that was passed down in Xingluo Heaven City and formed streaks of Thunder Star. They shattered all obstructions and bombarded towards Yi Chunfeng. Wind Riding Technique. Yi Chunfeng, who had intentionally concealed his strength, didn't take the powerful 6 styles of Thunder Star head-on. Under the Golden Rock Bloodline's amplification, he was like a gust of hurricane and suddenly vanished from his original spot. He dodged the streaks of Thunder Star and approached Luo Ho. Violent Thunder Strike. As Yi Chunfeng approached, the Thunder Dao patterns that revolved around Luo Ho's body immediately turned into boundless violent thunder. They bombarded Yi Chunfeng with overwhelming force and engulfed him in the violent thunder tide. After cultivating the true astral body to the second stage, Yi Chunfeng's physical strength was too powerful. The Thunder Dao patterns that bombarded him couldn't hurt him at all. He wielded the Sky Piercer and used his strength to break through the Dao patterns. He directly tore apart the violent thunder tide and thrust the halberd at Luo Ho's chest. "What?" When Luo Ho saw Yi Chunfeng's unscathed attack, he revealed a shocked expression. He immediately controlled the Star Dao patterns to condense a starry sky and crashed towards the approaching Yi Chunfeng. Swish! There was an ear-piercing sound of air being pierced. Yi Chunfeng, who had a powerful soul spirit, had already predicted Luo Ho's attack trajectory. His body flashed slightly and dodged the Star Dao intent attack before appearing on Luo Ho's right side. Subsequently, he threw the Sky Piercer forcefully and shot it towards Luo Ho's body at close range. When Luo Ho felt the destructive power of the Sky Piercer, his expression changed slightly. He instinctively wanted to dodge. However, at this moment, Yi Chunfeng executed the dizziness art. It went through the defensive artifact and blasted into Luo Ho's soul sea, causing him to feel a trace of dizziness. When Luo Ho tried his best to dispel this trace of dizziness, he was already powerless to dodge the Sky Piercer's attack. He could only use the Scarlet Blood Spear to defend with all his strength. Boom! The 2 great Dao treasures collided violently and formed an overbearing shock wave. It shook Luo Ho's blood and qi to the point that he lost control of his body. At this moment, Yi Chunfeng suddenly appeared behind him. Like a meteor streaking across the void, he ruthlessly crashed into Luo Ho's back. PFFF. Luo Ho's body defense was shattered. The terrifying impact ruthlessly crashed into his back and directly sent him flying. A large amount of blood sprayed out from his mouth. Sky Splitter. Relying on his absolute strength, Luo Ho forcefully stabilized his body that had lost control. When he landed at the edge of the arena, Yi Chunfeng summoned back his halberd and fused it with 20 heavenly Dao marks. With the momentum of splitting the heavens and splitting the earth, endless tornadoes swept up and slashed at Luo Ho. Boom! The Sky Piercer cleaved Luo Ho's Scarlet Blood Spear that was blocking above his head like a hot knife through butter. The powerful force and Heaven Dao energy passed through the spear and into his arm. It shattered his sleeves and caused his skin to split open. A large amount of blood flowed out. Starlight Chain Bind. Luo Ho's body was injured by Yi Chunfeng. He wanted to control the Starlight Chain to bind Yi Chunfeng and turned the situation around. Dual extreme ancient heavenly water, ice seal. Before the starlight chain could get close, Yi Chunfeng shot out the dual extreme ancient heavenly water from his body. It released an extremely cold air and forcefully froze the starlight chain. Just as the starlight chain released a powerful force and shattered the dual extreme ancient heavenly water's ice seal, Yi Chunfeng wielded the sky piercer and continued to launch wave after wave of attacks at Luo Ho. The astonishing attacks didn't give Luo Ho a chance to breathe. He retreated step by step. The injury on his arm was also worsening as he defended with all his might. His white bones were exposed. The match can end now. You have lost. When Luo Ho was forced to the edge of the martial arena by Yi Chunfeng's powerful attacks, Yi Chunfeng used his soul strength to the extreme. It formed an astonishing dizzying force that passed through the defensive treasure and once again exploded into his soul sea. Then, Yi Chunfeng's entire body fused with the sky piercer. It tore through space and bombarded the scarlet blood spear in front of him. Boom! Luo Ho, whose hand bones were shattered, was sent flying by Yi Chunfeng's strike. He left behind a cloud of blood in midair, and fell out of the martial arena, losing the match. Luo Ho, you are only SOSO. Yi Chunfeng inserted the sky piercer into the blood-stained martial arena. He looked down at him from above and said with an incomparably tyrannical tone. After he finished speaking, Yi Chunfeng jumped off the martial arena under the gazes of reverence. He exchanged his gold star cultivator token for a diamond star cultivator token and disappeared from the martial arena that was silent for a long time. Mobile reading home, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Collect button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 908. The Thunder Dao Heavenly Pavilion was one of the 3 forbidden areas of the star field. It was located in the Thunder Mountains in the north of the star field. Only Diamond Star warriors could cultivate there. Every time they cultivated, they would need to spend a lot of points. After defeating Luo Ho and becoming a Diamond Star warrior, Yi Chunfeng went straight to the Thunder Dao Heavenly Pavilion. He was prepared to cultivate there for a few days before going to the Road of Thunder Calamity and the 9-step. He wanted to further hone himself and build his foundation for becoming a level 4 combat beast emperor. Rumble! When he got close to the Thunder Dao Heavenly Pavilion, Yi Chunfeng immediately heard the deafening roar of thunder coming from the Thunder Mountains. Countless lightning bolts broke through the thick clouds and landed on the Thunder Mountains. Looking from afar, the lightning bolts danced wildly, shocking everyone. I wonder how many points I need to cultivate in the Thunder Dao Heavenly Pavilion. Yi Chunfeng walked over to the dreamlike Lei Daotian's pavilion, which was shrouded by a terrifying restriction. He could not see what was real and what was not. When he saw an extremely old man in linen robes sitting cross-legged and guarding the pavilion, he immediately walked over and spoke softly. 50,000 points a day. How many days do you want to cultivate? The old man in the linen robe lifted his wrinkled eyelids and looked at Yi Chunfeng, who looked unfamiliar to him, and said coldly, I'll cultivate for 20 days first. Although the price of cultivating in the Thunder Dao Heavenly Pavilion was unusually high, Yi Chunfeng still paid 1,000,000 points and obtained a Heavenly Pavilion token that allowed him to cultivate in the pavilion for 20 days. He then walked into the Thunder Dao Heavenly Pavilion, which was filled with an ancient aura. What a strong pressure! After walking into the Thunder Dao Heavenly Pavilion, Yi Chunfeng felt a strong pressure from the void, causing his strong body to tremble slightly. There are 3 levels in the Thunder Dao Heavenly Pavilion. The pressure and level of lightning on each level are different. The cultivation effects are also different. Yi Chunfeng stood at the Thunder Dao Heavenly Pavilion and carefully read the detailed introduction of the Thunder Dao Heavenly Pavilion. He endured the strong pressure and followed the lightning stairs to the top level of the Thunder Dao heavenly pavilion. As the distance between them increased, the pressure from the void space grew increasingly stronger. However, Yi Chunfeng's physical body was too strong. As he silently circulated the divine transformation of 9 transformations to resist, the pressure from the Thunder Dao heavenly pavilion did not affect him at all. Very soon, Yi Chunfeng arrived at the top floor of the Thunder Dao heavenly pavilion and saw individual cultivation rooms that were enveloped by powerful restrictions. Among them, there were many heaven pavilion tokens outside the cultivation rooms. It was obvious that someone had been cultivating there for a long time. I hope the Thunder Dao heavenly pavilion won't disappoint me. Yi Chunfeng found an unoccupied cultivation room and inserted the heavenly pavilion token, which could be used for 20 days of cultivation, into the groove by the door. Then, he activated the restriction and walked into the cultivation room, where the spiritual energy was almost liquid and the walls were flashing with a large number of electric snakes. When Yi Chunfeng sat in the center of the cultivation room, on a pitch-black metal bed, he activated the cultivation room's restrictions. The entire cultivation room immediately fell into chaos. Countless electric snakes surged out of the pitch-black walls. Attracted by the black metal bed, they surged towards Yi Chunfeng from all directions like a tidal wave, instantly engulfing him. Bathing in the lightning, Yi Chunfeng felt his entire body go numb. A large amount of lightning energy crazily surged into his body. It flowed through his meridians and ran amuck in his body, causing him to feel pain. Although the power of thunder and lightning that had entered his body was somewhat violent and hard to tame, when Yi Chunfeng circulated the soul-devouring art and forcibly refined the power of thunder and lightning that had entered his body, he discovered that the power of thunder and lightning was extremely pure. It was the best energy to nourish his body and increase his strength. Not bad, not bad. This Thunder Dao heavenly pavilion is indeed unique. It is very attractive to combat beast emperors. If one encounters a bottleneck, cultivating here will probably yield twice the results with half the effort. It will greatly increase the speed of breaking through. After experiencing the benefits of cultivating in the Thunder Dao heavenly pavilion, Yi Chunfeng calmed down and took out an Ultimate Emperor Dao pill and swallowed it. He circulated the soul-devouring art rapidly, absorbing the electric power around him into his body and refining it. At the same time, he absorbed the powerful medicinal effects released by the Ultimate Emperor Dao pill. Yi Chunfeng's unrestrained absorption was relying on his powerful physical body. Without the support of a powerful physical body, his physical body would have exploded with so much electric power surging into his body. At the same time, Xingluo Heaven City Lord Sha Bingyun found out from Grand Elder Sharenjia that Overlord Sword and Luo Ho had lost to Yi Chunfeng. Her brows were tightly knitted together. Grand Elder, what is the background of that He Yen? Sha Bingyun asked softly. According to Luo Ho's investigation, that He Yen is the disciple of the Xingluo continent's rogue cultivator, Daoist Shi. We have investigated his identity many times and there is no problem. Sharenjia said. Daoist Shi's disciple. Sha Bingyun's slender fingers lightly tapped on the table. After pondering for a few seconds, she asked, according to what I know, that Daoist Shi was only a level 2 combat beast emperor. Furthermore, he died an unnatural death. With his strength and foundation, it is impossible for him to teach such a stunning talent. It is even more impossible for him to pass down a mid-grade Dao artifact. I feel that there is something wrong with this He Yen. City Lord, you suspect that he is from the Xia clan? Sharenjia asked. It is hard to say. Sha Bingyun shook her head and said, before I see him, I cannot make a conclusion. City Lord, if you wish to see him, I will immediately capture him and interrogate him. At that time, we will know if there is anything wrong with him. Sharenjia said fiercely. Let's wait first. Now is not the time to act rashly and alert the enemy. Let's wait until the Star Field ranking tournament is over. With his strength that defeated Luo Ho and Overlord Sword, he will definitely participate in the Star Field ranking tournament. At that time, we will observe him carefully, and we should be able to find something suspicious. Sha Bingyan shook her head and said, however, during this period of time, send someone to keep an eye on him. I want to know if he has any other accomplices. That is simple. I will send someone to keep an eye on him. Sha Renjia nodded and said, That's right, Grand Elder. How is the situation with the True Demons clan? Sha Bingyan rubbed her temples and asked in a low voice. Ever since the old city lord appeared and negotiated with the Demon King, the people from the True Demons clan did not find trouble with us because of the theft of their supreme-grade Dao artifact. Sha Renjia said, however, the person who stole the supreme-grade Dao artifact seemed to have disappeared from the face of the earth. We have almost searched the entire Xingluo Sky City, but could not find him. Continue searching. I am certain that that person did not leave Xingluo Sky City. Sha Bingyan said. For some reason, Sha Bingyun had a feeling that ever since the mysterious sword god left his name on the 9 heavenly walls, the entire Xingluo Sky City had been experiencing major events. The complicated situation made her physically and mentally exhausted. She also had a bad premonition. Time passed day by day. There were less than 10 days before the Star Field ranking tournament. The Star Field experts that were in seclusion in the Thunder Dao Heavenly Pavilion all came out and prepared for the upcoming Star Field ranking tournament. As for Yi Chunfeng, after cultivating in the Thunder Dao Heavenly Pavilion for 20 days, he had completely absorbed the Extreme Emperor Dao Pill's effects. His strength and physical body had obviously increased. However, Yi Chunfeng required an extremely large amount of energy to break through. Just a single Extreme Emperor Dao Pill was not enough for him to break through to become a Grade 4 Combat Beast Emperor. However, he was not in a hurry. He needed to cultivate to the limit and lay down the most solid foundation. After leaving the Thunder Dao Heavenly Pavilion, Yi Chunfeng headed towards the 9 heavenly steps that attracted him the most. He wanted to challenge the 9 heavenly steps and train himself further. However, when Yi Chunfeng arrived at the 9 heavenly steps, he was told that the 9 heavenly steps were temporarily closed during the Star Field ranking tournament. Other than that, he was also surprised to find out that the 9 heavenly steps from the 5 heavenly steps to the 9 heavenly steps would only be opened during the Star Field ranking tournament. Normally, he could only challenge the 1st to 4th step. Sigh. Looks like I have no choice but to participate in this Star Field ranking tournament. Yi Chunfeng sighed softly. In order to ascend the 9 heavenly steps and challenge the most mysterious cultivation resource in the Xingluo Sky City, he had no choice but to sign up for the Star Field ranking tournament that was about to begin. Mobile reading website. Book address. In order to make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support.